Hello everybody, welcome to the character creation world building session. It's not even a session 0 because we're not even like prequeling it. We're like session -1 for Legacies of Caine. So we're going to be doing some Vampire the Masquerade, and today we're just going to start with basically helping these guys out, kick some characters. Tiv can't join us today. He's still got some internet issues, so hopefully he'll be... I've been talking to him about his character, though. He's a little more familiar with World of Darkness, so hopefully we don't have any problems there. But thank you for the cheer. Why don't we get started with who everybody is, and then we'll kind of, because we're still working on characters, so we can't really introduce those. Dunce, why don't we start with you?
Hello. I'm Dunce. And I'm going to be playing as a Nosferatu boy. I haven't really decided very much beyond that, except that my name will be Samuel. I'm going to be Samuel Hamilton. I'm going to have boils all over my face.
Ew.
It'll be wonderful. I'm still got to get what I'm calling you. Am I calling you Bubblegum Viking, or am I calling you...
Whichever's easiest. It
Jess?
can just be Jess, or it
Yeah,
can
Jess.
be
I'll stick with Jess. I'll stick with Jess
Yeah.
because
Welcome, new citizen
Bubblegum
of
Viking's
the
a
Empire.
mouthful.
if I don't ask now because I'm bad with names, I'm gonna like mess it up.
Yeah, I'm bad with names, don't worry.
Okay, so Jess, how about introduce yourself a little bit?
I am Jess, Bubblegum Viking. I have never done anything like this before, so I'm very confused. But I was thinking I'm gonna be a female Bruja, whose name I'm gonna use a random name generator to find out.
That's completely acceptable. I'll let you guys know that you're going to be stationed in New York, so if it's like, it's America, so just, you don't have to be American, though, originally. So it is up to you. CarpeDM.
I am the CarpeDM. A lot of people just call me Carpe.
We'll stick with that.
Yeah, that's it. And the CarpeDM is a mouthful as well, especially with the on the front, which makes it really weird. Anyway, I am still kind of wavering between a Ventru and an Assamite.
Ooh. Some good choices there. All right. So why don't we, as I said I'm going to start with world establishment, because I don't know how much you guys know about it and how much you people out there know about the World of Darkness. So everything in the vampire world stems from Caine, of the Cain and Abel myth. He is the first vampire. He was cursed by whatever could be called this world's god or something similar to it, to be a vampire when he killed his brother. He wandered the earth for a while. He ended up in a city where he discovered he could make his own children, others of his own kind, and so beget the second generation. And that's where your generation comes in. It's how far you are from Cain. He is the first. The second was first born. Then the third generation was born. They forbid anybody after the third generation. Then the deluge happened, and the first city where they were all in was destroyed. And then the third generation slew the second generation, as they're known as the Antediluvians, and they settled their own city. Cain later discovered them, angered at them, cursed all of them. And that is why each clan or bloodline has a curse to them. There is 13 clans. They are the main groups of vampire, but many bloodlines which are said to stem from them, that kind of split off the blood. We're all looking at being main clans, so we don't have to worry about a lot of crazy bloodlines right now. But that's the kind of basic story. And it has been, of course, many thousands of years since then. Your basic character starts at 13th generation, though I'm giving everybody here 3 free generations. So you will be starting at least 10th. You still can only go up to the maximum of 8th, but it's your choice if you're 8th, 9th, or 10th generation. It's just a little measurement of power. It doesn't mean a whole lot, but it will just represent that you have a connection a little closer to Cain. So there are 3 major factions that you can find in the world. A couple smaller vampire factions. The major factions are the Camarilla. The Camarilla are all about containing vampires' knowledge. They maintain the thing called the Masquerade. It's what hides vampires from the world. And all of you will be associated with the Camarilla. Whether you are direct members of it or you have come under their watchful eye, so to say, at this point in time, just because they control New York, where you're in, up to you. But you are associated with them. They're also the Sabbat, which are all about vampires first. They believe in vampire superiority. They don't care much for hiding the fact that they're around as much as it keeps, you know, things in line. They're all about the big play. When they take control, they'll do it more from the shadows rather than directly, but they will try to take control. And of course then there's the Anarchs, who are all about freedom kind of for themselves, and are kind of rebelling against the two other groups. A little history of New York has that it's been a battleground. The Camarilla currently controls it. There are factions of Anarchs. They're still Sabbat, but most of them were killed off in the early 2000s in a great battle. So, pretty simple things there. Each city, especially some big cities like New York, is run by a prince. This doesn't mean you're necessarily male or female, it's just a title. It just means you're the head of the city, you control everything. So all of you will have met New York's prince, so we'll talk about that. If you have any questions in chat, or if you guys have anything you want me to dive deeper into, just let me know now, because this is the point in time where I'm going over the big lore dump.
I think I should be good.
Okay.
Yeah, I played some video games in my day.
If you played Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, you get an idea of it. I don't think they kind of do the full lore dump in that one.
No, nothing like that.
But they give a little bit of it. You get an idea of some of the clans and stuff too. All right,
it's a good game.
Yes, it is. I definitely have to check it out. So, yeah, 20th anniversary still has the old discipline, so they're pretty much the same. There have been slightly updates. 20th anniversary is just a big, like, rules update, I would call it, as best you can describe. So, alright. So, I think that's everything about New York. So, all your characters, the big detail about them that I wanted to let you guys know is your characters will be orphan vampires. Now, it's up to you how you want to decide this means to your character. Does this mean you were created and abandoned right away, and that your sire, the person who created you, wasn't the one that mentored you away the vampire? That's fine. It could mean that recently you've been separated from your sire or your mentor, whoever it is, and you don't know where they are. You don't know if they're alive, they're dead. They could be dead. That could be an option. Or it could be somewhere in between. That somewhere you had some time with your sire, were separated out, had a different mentor. Completely up to you how you want to break it out. But you're currently you're relatively new on your own. Whether this means you've been with whoever taught you for a couple of years, 6 months, decades, that's up to you also. But currently you're fresh for going into vampire society, and you're now on your own and have ended up under the folds of the Camarilla. Whether your sire had you directly there, or because of situation, hey, they're a person to turn to. So, why don't we talk a little bit about character creation now? Because, I mean, that's the big part of this entire stream today. So, let me get the book together for myself, for I can do it. So, if you're looking at the character sheet, the big thing first to kind of start with is you guys need things like a nature, demeanor, and concept. These are the things that define your basics of your character. So, if you're looking in the basic book, it lists like your natures and demeanors. Your nature is your true nature. It's how you actually are inside. This can be different than your demeanor, which is the way you act to the world. Demeanor is the way you display yourself against everybody. A lot of the ones that they suggest are basically give you ideas as to kind of things that can make you think about how your character will act. Nature is very important, though, and we'll talk about that like when it comes up. It's based upon your willpower, which is another stat. Regaining that is based upon your nature. The current time, it will be current time period, so it's going to be 2018. I'm going to set it at beginning of summer, so we're going to be like early May, and so it's New York, early May, beginning of summer, And the thing is, we're not going with any of the Gehenna storylines if you're people out there that know about those, which was the early 2000s Vampire the Masquerade apocalyptic storyline they put out with. Ignoring that. We're not going for horrible apocalypse now. Probably.
Focus.
Probably.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Probably.
Probably. And as I was saying, concept is basically the last thing you're going to look at, which is your, like, the something that describes the core aspect of your character. That's up to you what you want your concept to actually be. Excuse me now. I'm trying to cough a little bit. You can dive into however you want with the concept. They give suggestions in the book oftentimes, but whatever it is up to you. So, you know, if you have any questions about this, just keep hitting me up. The other details that they have at the top of the character sheet were, of course, your name, your player. Chronicles, not something we're going to really mess around with. That would be Legacies of Caine. Clan is self-explanatory. I explained generations a little bit, but that's a background to get generation, so we'll talk about backgrounds. And sire, you just would list your sire who's whoever you want it to be, kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't need a specific sire, so to say.
Am I currently seeing someone else's character sheet in Roll20, or is that mine?
It will have which one. Each one of them should be for each person that's in there right now.
I'm not
I
seeing
see
any.
one.
Right. How do I get in?
Okay, I'm gonna let me get you get me resend the invite. I thought I had the invite to you, but let me resend that to you to get you in, and then I can give you a character sheet too.
Okay. I was like, pretty sure I should be looking at something.
Yes, because I don't. So let me. There is the Roll20 link sent to you in Twitter. Messaged you.
Okay.
So just click on that, and then you can head into Roll20. Oh, I got you in here. You're just not in the game. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I
Launch
missed
game,
that.
huh?
Yeah, launch game. There we go. Oh my god.
Alright, there we go.
I did have you.
Lunch game. Yummy.
I did have some problems with Roll20 earlier, so it could have been that.
This could be true. So now I'm going to add you because, there we go. I'm giving you a character. Each of you should only have one character under the characters tab. Do you see all that?
Yeah.
Those are your characters, so you can edit how you
Okay.
want. They have weird
I just
names
wanted to
right
clarify
now.
because they had the weird name.
It's the random names that they give the characters when you create
Yeah.
the sheet, so it's one of those interesting things.
I see nothing.
Oh no.
Oh, I might need to add... I know why. You...
I also see nothing.
I believe it's because I'm lazy. I think that might be it.
There we go. Now you should see something.
I still have one screen.
Okay.
I do.
Fix it.
Okay, so from the screen, you'll see over on the left side, there's the chat is the first, or right side. God, I'm trying to do bad here. You're open in the chat window on the right now. The next one over is our art library, and then journal. Click on journal. They're going to be like the upper right corner. When you click on journal, it'll show like characters and handouts. You can click on the character, which will open up the character, and then click on character sheet to see the sheet.
Okay.
Yeah, it starts. It starts on bio and information, which is like, meh. Unless you're editing a lot of that, you can.
Okay, I got this now.
Yep.
Bio and info is really good for taking notes.
It is.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
So, oh, I need you right now. You right now. Where is? So, let's see here. Where to work from here? Just like you guys want to keep letting me know as you're building the part of that. I'll go over a little bit of background information about it. Some other little things. The current prince is Helena Panhard. She is a Ventru, 8th generation. She's a child of the Camarilla prince that basically took control of the city from the Sabbat and the battles with it. Because there was a Battle of New York, which sounds like it would be epic, but it's, you know, shadowy battles in the background of everything.
Yeah.
Hold on, now I'm taking notes. What was the prince's name?
Helena Panhard.
Panhard.
Mm-hmm.
I bet she does.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't going to acknowledge that one there.
You're just going to have to accept that is...
I can accept bad jokes. I will have my own bad jokes at different points in time.
Oh, good.
Look, the title of this entire thing is a little bad joke because I put up with it because I put it down because I thought about it, and then I thought about something else that it kind of gets close to. And it makes sense, but I also remember it. Video game references.
Yeah, Legacy of Caine was good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Helena Caine, the what's her name? Prince.
Yes. Yep. Basically, her creation was not as great as other creations of vampires. Effectively, the prince beforehand, Michaela, she basically decided to just embrace a large number of vampires to basically cannon fodder against the Sabbat. Helena was one of those that managed to survive. Or Helena. I'm trying to keep saying bad with names. I'm telling you now. Also, if anybody out there hears me mispronounce anything from all the names for vampire, I totally am going to do it. I mispronounce them all the time. Live with it. But yeah, so she survived, and then when the rest of the Camarilla was like, so about this, you won the war, but we also don't like the fact that you battled the war in the way you did, so you're out. And that's why Michaela was basically kicked out of the princedom. Yeah. She was eventually killed, though, after that period of time. So. And there was Nosferatu as prince for a while before Helena took control. So that's
my boy. We go way back.
Yeah. Calibros. So. The city itself has quite a number of domains. Wall Street's controlled by the Ventru traditionally. The Nosferatu have a huge haven in Manhattan, which is one of their main hubs, because the Nosferatu are also information gatherers and tech savvy no matter what, so they have their own like little internet system in there.
We're big brain boys.
Yes. No one pays attention to them because they all pull them off as like the ugly sewer dwellers, and they're like, that's why we can get all the information. The Tremere, which are the vampire magicians, have a powerful chantry that they maintained even during the time of the Sabbat. There are 6 Giovanni in the town, which is quite saying something, as Giovanni are basically the mafia of the vampire world. But they're also necromancers. Necromancer mafia. No one really people accept them. Yeah.
Is that what that one guy with the weird glasses was?
He was Tremere.
Okay.
He is a vampire magician. They use
I
blood
didn't like
magic.
him.
Yeah. Blood magic is just fun. The followers of Set, who are kind of like have a little bit of Egyptian theme, have some temples, and the Ravenos, which, depending on which version of Ravenos you're looking at, traditionally people look at them as gypsies, though there's an entire branch of them that are from India and have a traditional India feel to it, the subcontinent. And Anarchs are in Staten Island. There are some Sabbat packs still alive, kind of hiding under the wings, but, you know. So that's a lot of the basics of the city, as it is standing right now. And you guys might know more information as you sort of build things out with your characters. So what were you guys thinking, folks thinking for like nature, demeanor, concept, that kind of thing? Got some good ideas?
I'm trying to find like where are there any recommended ones, like lists of different
yeah, give me a
natures
second here.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to find it. I can't see
Yeah, it's page 81.
page 81.
Thank you. My PDF was loading up nice and slow. So
Nice.
Mine did too, but I started it earlier, I think.
see, that helps.
That's why you got to get that Foxit PDF reader.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I have.
Nice. It works really well compared to like
does.
other shit that I've used. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys don't mind like swearing on this, right?
I don't
I've been
care.
doing that.
I tend to avoid it because I have a small child in the household. But other than that, I don't care because they can't hear it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And also, this is a darker game anyway, so
Yeah, that's fair.
you guys eat people. You're not supposed to kill people. That doesn't mean they're not going to have trouble.
What was that page number again?
81.
81.
81. I was like, 18 seemed too close.
Hey, we can kill people sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of if the Masquerade agrees.
Also, a matter of your humanity degrees.
Yeah, that's true.
The more horrible things you do, the more your humanity drops, and there are consequences for loss of humanity. That means you can much easier frenzy, and that's always
Right.
fun.
Yeah. So I would imagine that like you wouldn't necessarily have a nature that is directly opposite your demeanor. You would have one that's like it's more hidden, but it's not, direct opposite.
True. And the thing is, your nature and demeanor can be the same
Okay.
if you want to. It's
Right.
it's sort of like you have to think of the nature as sort of like the person that acts like a big shot on the outside, but secretly is like afraid of like what everybody thinks about them, kind of thing. He's like big and tough, but really like it's like, does everybody like me? Is everybody really like me? It's that the fact that you might hide how you really are to the world. That's what demeanor is. It's your mask to the world. Whether or not you
Right.
wear yourself on your sleeve, or you hide yourself, either hide yourself just a little bit, or you can have that complete opposite where you really hide who you actually are.
Okay.
So what is Daleric?
Another DM / storyteller / GM that I kind of talk with and stuff. Don't have a lot of chance to play as much anymore with him, but he does.
Got the big old nerd.
He is. He's a nerd. Yeah, because Dunce, you're in a game with him, right? You're the Witcher
Yeah.
game. Yeah.
He's also in the Kids on Bikes thing that I do
Yeah.
with Doxy. These ones they all sound really good. These different like natures that I'm looking through. A lot of these sound fun.
That's one of those things. Is like when you're looking at them, you try to figure out what best defines your character.
Yeah.
And there are some really nice ones out there.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the problem I sometimes have when I'm building a White Wolf character, is just trying to figure out those two that really match what I want. And again, nature is going to be the more important of the two because that's going to define how you recover willpower. Basically, when
Right.
you act within your nature, is when you recover it. So it's basically when you embrace your true self a little bit, you can get back your will to continue fighting on.
Am I gonna want to necessarily hide my nature from player, like in out of character right now? Do I need to hide it?
Depends on the kind of character you're building. If you're a much more secretive kind of person, or you feel like that you would have your own kind of agenda, possibly, then you might want to hide it.
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially. Also, it depends on, like, again, like the example I gave of the person that is very nervous and very, like, you know, worried about the world, but then acts very brave and push forward. They probably won't want to reveal their, like, what they feel are weaknesses to the world.
And like in character, I wouldn't reveal it. It's just a matter of, like, I imagine we can, if it's not like a major thing that we're gonna go back to, I imagine I can do it. And what I'm thinking of, I'll actually just DM it to you, and you can sort of
Sure.
let me know. I was thinking of doing this as my nature, because I feel like that would become more. It would become apparent eventually, anyway.
Yeah.
At some point or another.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that'd be fine. If you feel like they wouldn't have an idea about that, that's perfectly fine.
Well, I think, like, honestly, I think that they'd find out regardless eventually, just because I feel like the way I'd play my character, he'd show it eventually. But yeah, I'm going with the I'm gonna be a perfectionist boy.
I feel like Dunce is gonna try and murder my character now.
Eventually.
He's being all secretive. I'm like,
It's not. No. I'm gonna. It's just. I was thinking. I imagine certain natures would be more secretive, but my guy is gonna be sort of a little bit more obvious. It's not gonna be completely out there, but he's definitely.
And the thing is, the perfectionist is really good with a Nosferatu, because it's that horrible nature of the fact that you yourself are probably no longer, like, anywhere near perfect, and that might just work on you all the time.
So now I'm trying that much harder to be perfect in everything else that I do.
Yes, because you are a creature that itself is nowhere near perfect.
Right.
And it probably shatters a lot of your ideas of maybe, like, originally what, like, a vampire could be. That is actually one of those things that a lot of Nosferatu face, is they do not necessarily like being Nosferatu.
Oh, yeah.
There are very
few
that...
There's a curse for a reason.
There are very few that choose to be a Nosferatu, is one of those things, too. And this is a good point of time to think about who you were before you were embraced, also. That helps put back to concept. Like, what kind of person you were before you became a vampire. What kind of reason would you have for being embraced? Because usually a lot of these groups give a reason. Like Nosferatu, they will embrace someone for one of two reasons. One, spitefulness. A Nosferatu will embrace someone that's, like, pretty or, like, limelighty, something like that, just to throw them down in the sewers with them. Or someone that would be useful for information gathering. Have some kind of skill, some kind of expertise, some kind of connections that they can still use.
Yeah, I like to imagine that my my character was, like, a bit of, you know, pretty boy sort of guy, and he was smart, but he was, you know, the popular kid that was also, he did well in all of his classes, sort of thing. And now he's got boils, like, down half of his face, but I also like to imagine that the other half is still, like, pretty good looking, so he's just, like, he's stuck half in half.
Ooh.
He'll never be perfect.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm kind of stuck between three. I'm looking at the scientist. Everything is a puzzle to solve, because I love solving puzzles. Especially with limited resources. The sociopath, because everyone wants to be a sociopath.
Absolutely.
And the trickster, because that's naturally what I'm going to be doing the whole game.
Yeah, there's a pretty wide variety, so it's kind of hard to, like, give a good one.
I'm just thinking, like, the trickster seems like it would be good for the nature, because I will be making jokes probably about everything, more or less.
And Jess, if you're going to be a Bruja, it's pretty easy to come up with good stories for them because they traditionally embrace whoever, and they are the worst at, not all of them, but many of them are pretty bad at looking after their childer.
Ah! I picked the perfect one!
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I also my PDF crashed, so I had to reload that. That was fun.
Oh, no.
That's always fun.
Oh, that was fun. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't know what to go with.
It does take a little thought.
Yeah, I'm very indecisive.
I would say try to like focus on perhaps your concept first and foremost, because that's going to be the probably the more important of those things.
Yeah.
Though nature and demeanor are very important.
Okay.
So what I'm sort of thinking for my demeanor
Mm-hmm.
is potentially Creepshow. So it's almost like an exact opposite, where he really plays up the like disgusting nature, even though he hates it about himself.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's an interesting one, definitely. I like that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, have any of you guys read the Dresden Files?
Dresden. I feel like I've heard of it.
I saw some of the TV series. I didn't have a chance to read the books, which I know they're not as good.
Oh yeah, I've never.
Okay. Well, you also don't know John Marconi then, or Marcone.
Marcone. I recognize that name.
Yeah, he's the
Maybe for Batman though.
basically the gangster that runs the underside of Chicago, and he's got principles. They're just not what the average citizen would agree with necessarily. I think that's what I'm going with as my concept.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah. All right.
Is there like
it's just horrible. Whatever.
The TV series is not shit. It's only shit if you've read the books and are expecting the TV show to be anything like them.
So yeah, the thing about concept, it's basically, I'd say it would be the role you were in life, is a good way of saying that. Like,
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily need to be like a job. A lot of them are jobs, but like if you look at some of them, like there's an example of like club goer, goth. Then you could have also been like an enforcer, a farmer. Those are like very different. Some of them are more like the kind of person you were. Others are more your job, which maybe defines you. You just have to think about that. That's the easiest way to think about when you're talking about concept, is to what it defines you of.
So I'm thinking, I think my character is going to be relatively young, because it's going to be like sort of the, like I said earlier, the whole he was pretty boy, but still got good grades, was set up to be basically like a CEO of his father's company or something like that, or maybe something similar. He had a job lined up after he got out of school, but then senior year, Nosferatu doesn't like him very much. Bam, he's ugly.
Probably saw you do something really terrible,
Oh yeah.
I think maybe if you want a concept, maybe professional then that might work, because you might have been like, because one of those suggestions for that is like an industrialist. So that would have been going
where do you see that? Is that is there a
page
number?
88.
88.
It has sample concepts down there, a bunch of them. I just see the page where they go a little more in depth. Do they have? They don't really go in more in depth in the concepts. Is unfortunate about it, but because those are really, it is meant to be very open ended. The concept is the only thing about it.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I quite like the competitor one.
Yeah. It's kind of being a competitor. You must be the best.
Trying to be the best, but fucking it all up because I'm terribly irresponsible.
That could be competitor, could be your demeanor then, and you could have it that like you have not quite the opposite of a competitor, because you're trying to be the best on the outside, but maybe like what would be a good one for the inside? Like what your nature would be then to go with that one. That one, it could be. Well, there's a lot of choices how you want to really be is the problem. It's that depends on how much you want to go. But like if you're trying to be the best, or it could be that those could be both your nature and demeanor too.
Yeah.
And that you're just not hiding anything. You just want to be the best, and you're good at showing it off.
Yes, definitely not going to be the best, considering apparently they abandoned their children. But
well, again, you can determine how if you were abandoned or not directly. You were mentored by someone from the Bruja clan, at least I will say, because you are like properly a clan member. You're not a caitiff.
okay.
Which sometimes you do have to worry about. That's when like you're basically you don't learn enough about your clan and you're basically abandoned.
Yeah. I liked the curmudgeon one as well. So it could sort of be, I'm trying to be the best. I'm going to be the best at everything. But everything is flawed and I'm awful at it.
Yeah. That could be your demeanor, nature, demeanor of competitor, nature of a curmudgeon. It's like you're trying to be the best, but you have that kind of like negative attitude deep inside.
Yeah. Okay, I'm starting to understand.
Mm-hmm. It takes a little, but once you get it, you're like you pick up everything.
I used to be a pretty boy like you, but then I took a Nosferatu to the neck. Oh.
Oh, you poor boy. You were so beautiful.
Was.
Yeah.
Definitely was.
He's got a picture in his back pocket that every once in a while he pulls out.
I mean, there are
Covers up the half of
Nosferatu
his
like
face
that.
that's ugly sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I look in a mirror and I cover half my face and look at the good half.
Well, yeah, you just
Yeah,
like,
all your mirrors have like tape over one side.
yeah. So you position yourself just perfectly every time to
Yeah.
only see the one half of your face.
Flash that beautiful smile. See a little bit of bad lip.
I hope he just has like drawers full of like beauty creams. Just ready to apply every morning just in case it works.
Yeah.
He has a picture in the
Tries
mirror
every
frame.
day.
Nice.
I like that, Rosa.
That's very good. I like that too.
All right. I think I'm going with the scientist nature and the sociopath demeanor.
I like it. Okay. You're looking for the puzzle, but you like just go after everything that's just inferior to just get rid of it. Looking for that true challenge. I like that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. I think I'm doing the curmudgeon competitor one. I like that.
Yeah, that does sound like a really great combination. Most vampires are fine with mirrors. I think, if I have to remember the clan, there's one of the clans has a weakness that they don't show up in a mirror. I think it's La Sombra.
Overwatch.
I wish I didn't show up in a mirror.
Oh!
La Sombra are cool. They are fairly Sabbat oriented, but they have a vampire power that they manipulate shadows. But they don't show up in mirrors, bodies of waters, reflective windows, polished metals. They don't show up on anything. All other vampires kind of do, though you can take flaws, which you might not, which you also would have that. Like, there are, like, generally speaking, flaws that you can have that will give you other, like, weird vampiric weaknesses. But traditionally, most of those don't exist. There's certain things you just still have to worry about. Fire bad. Sunlight, also bad. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine, Ollie.
All right,
It's
I've
fine.
decided that I am a Nosferatu that's invisible. Easy.
You can live a happy life now.
Also, if you guys don't know, stake to the heart does not kill you. It just puts you into basically a state of suspended animation until it's removed. So, that is something good to know. Also, it is a big faux pas to drink the blood of another vampire until they die.
Oh, just until they die. Okay.
Yes. That's diablerizing them. Basically, because then you assume some of their powers.
Ooh.
So it's
But-
only really bad if you get caught doing it.
Oh my god. Yes. because then if it's found out, there are witch hunts. Basically,
Oh.
which is
Right.
basically
What?
the vampire version of everybody comes to kill you.
No, guys, I got this. I'll drink your blood. You drink her blood. She'll drink my blood. We've got a never-ending blood supply.
Which one of us would die first?
Whoever has the least amount of blood when you start. I don't know. That actually, I don't think that would work. That'd be weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
it
never
gets
know if you don't try.
exactly.
Can't be ugly if you can't be seen in Tap's temple.
Vampire the Centipede. That is unfortunately accurate. Alright. So it sounds like most of you guys are pretty well kind of where you want to be. Nature, demeanor, concept.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let's start talking about the next part, which is your attributes. The attributes are divided into 3 categories: physical, mental, social. Most of those are pretty self-explanatory. You know, strength, dexterity, stamina, those are pretty easy. Charisma, manipulation, appearance, perception, intelligence, wits.
Let me get rid of that appearance point for me.
Yeah, yours is 0. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get 7, 5, and 3. What this means is, you start with 1 dot in each of these, free dot, but then you have between 7, 3, and 5, and 3 to divide between those categories. Effectively, you choose a primary, a secondary, or a tertiary. Let's say, for example, you wanted physical to be primary. You would have 7 points to split between those 3: strength, dexterity, stamina. So that, granted, when you had all the dots in those, it should add up to 10, because remember, 3 free ones. That would be if you're physical. You could have mental, social as your primary, up to you completely. There are certain things like Dunce has an appearance of 0, so he could still have social as primary and just have a lot of charisma and manipulation. That is an option. He just can't put anything into appearance because of his clan's flaw.
Not very attractive.
No.
Okay, I wasn't paying enough attention. You said something about 3 free ones?
Okay. You see who already have dots on your character sheet?
Oh, okay.
They are there. You have a minimum of 1 in anything. You cannot.
Gotcha.
The only exception, as I said, was Dunce and his appearance of 0 from being a Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, up to you which you feel would be the top tier for each of your characters.
I'm assuming I don't get that point back to spend.
No, you don't. They're just like, you had 1 point here, we're just going to remove it and say no
Yeah.
to this entire attribute. Just no.
So how many points do we have total? So for physical, I think we'd have a total of 10, right?
Well,
Am I following?
not really.
No.
So, you look at, does your character want to be more physical, social, or mental?
Oh, okay.
So that's the first thing you're going to choose. What's your top 1 out of those 3?
Probably physical.
Okay. Then you want to put 7 in there. Then next,
Okay.
you're going to say, second, do I want social or mental?
Okay. The mental.
Then that would be your 5, and you have 3 in social then. you can divide those numbers between those all you want. When I was saying 10, I was including the 3 free ones you get.
Yeah, because it starts at a base 1.
Okay, so 7, 5, and what was the last one? 3?
3, yes.
3. Okay.
So technically you'll have 10, 8, 6.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And 2 is average for anything. Is a good way. 5 is a maximum you can have right now. That there is more space for dots, but that's really because if you're much higher generation than you guys are, you can start taking dots above 5. You can't do that in this game. You're not going to be elders.
Okay.
Says you.
Well, at least at this point in time. Not all Toreadors are pretty. There are those that are just artistic snobs.
Hmm?
I mean, all Toreador are artistic snobs, but that's besides the point. My discussion with chat continues.
I'd like to actually lower myself to a -1 appearance, please.
I mean, you can add more penalties, technically.
I don't want to. It doesn't sound really working in my favor.
There are social flaws you can take, which would give you further penalties to social related things if you really wanted to.
Oof. No, I think I'm in a bad enough spot.
Yes.
Stamina 1 dot. You can bruise in a stiff wind.
Yeah.
But where do you see that? I want to see that.
Yeah, where are these 2?
Okay.
That's page 97.
Yeah, page 97. It gets into like what all the dots represent. Some of them are pretty funny. They're really
that's
good. Like dexterity of 1 is you're clumsy and awkward. Put that gun down before you hurt yourself.
Wait, mine's not page 97. Why is it lying to me?
Alright,
Oh, I'm sorry. 104. Go to 104.
Oh, okay. I was like, is mine wrong?
I'm
Well,
looking
there's
at the page
nothing-
number in the book, not
Yeah.
the page number in the
Oh,
PDF.
yeah.
That's why I've been so confused.
Yeah, they're good like that.
They don't have anything for 0 appearance. But my clothes...
I mean, they say it under Nosferatu of like, ew.
Aw.
just
Well,
ooh, ew.
Think about it this way. Poor 1 dot is your clothes stink, you turn people off right away, or you're just damned ugly, and you're worse than that.
I'm worse than that.
I mean, the chances of you actually living in a sewer fairly high, or at
Yeah.
least somewhere else that's just as like off on the fringes of society.
I'm imagining that one sewer that you go to in Bloodlines, the one that guy lives in. I forget his name.
Mm-hmm.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The chances of you getting along with people depends on if they're fairly high.
That's very true. Computer nerd is the way to go with Nosferatu, because most of them are.
That's stereotyping.
It is.
I mean, it's appropriate, but...
Mm-hmm.
Alright. I think I've got my dots right.
Alright.
Checking mine.
I hope that at least one of the other 2 is physical, because I am very not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not either.
So, if you have any 4s or 5s, you get a specialty for free.
Ooh.
So, specialty is basically a subcategory. When you roll a die involved with an activity that has your specialty, when you roll a 10, it counts as 2 successes instead of 1.
Ooh.
And
I have that.
each of these stats will list specialties. Like, Strength specialties like Never Let Go, Powerful Arms, Reserves of Strength, Vicious. So you get an idea of, like, when you're doing something related to that, you get that bonus.
Let me know how my dots are looking. If I
will
did this
take a look.
correctly.
Yeah, I think I'm happy with
My
mine.
physical looks like I'm giving the finger.
Hey.
Got him. Get pranked.
Wow. Rude. Jess is strong. I'm gonna be so strong. Don't worry.
Yeah, your points look good. The numbers
Yes.
are correct.
Let's go.
All right, where would we put in these specialties?
They don't have a really great place for specialties on here, so you could probably throw it under your notes, I guess. I'm gonna guess. Because, like, on a normal character sheet, they usually have just enough space you can kind of put it on the other side of them,
Yeah.
you know? But,
Gotcha.
it's just something you can have to, like, note on so that you can, like, get an idea.
So it's specialties.
Yeah. And as I said, every one of the in that area around page 104 / 96, 97, each of them will list the one there.
All right. Hey, chat. Anybody have suggestions for charisma and manipulation specialties for me?
I see the specialties, but it doesn't say what they do. Is it necessarily?
Effectively, it's very open-ended. For a good example,
Okay.
let's say, like, Swift for dexterity. If you're doing some kind of dexterity-related check, and you go, I think this is Swift, you say that to me, and I take a look at what you're doing, and I'm like, let's say you're doing fine manipulation. That's not Swift. But if you're, like, trying to, like, do, like, a running leap maybe across something, I could be like, yeah, that's Swift.
Right, sounds good.
Yeah. They're very open-ended in that way that effectively it's open to my interpretation when you're actually triggering it.
Hmm. Honestly, I'm just creating myself right now. It's just me.
Yeah, right.
No appearance. Low strength.
Oh.
It's fine.
You said at 4 you get
Yeah, 4 or 5s will have it.
okay.
And the same is going to be true for abilities when we talk about them in a second. So,
Okay.
Larceny is a skill? Okay. Seems like a terrible skill to have when you're a vampire, I'm gonna be honest.
there's quite a list of skills. So, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. They're technically, we're just going to stick to the basic talents, skills, and knowledges that there are here because these are the core ones. Technically, there are other ones you could pick up. I don't know how many they've published in the V20 for the listings, but I remember in the old Advanced Player's Guide for Vampire, they gave, like, a lot of alternates. Like, a good example would be, like, diving, like scuba diving is a skill that you could have. It's none that's not, like, necessarily needed. And it's one of those ones that's kind of, like, off the corner there. And yes, a vampire diving into water, it's like, well, I mean, you aren't buoyant. You have to remember that. You sink well.
Yeah, but I'm really good at it.
You're very good at sinking very well.
I do sink very well. I sink a lot.
Let me know when all of you are you're pretty good right now, you think? With that part there?
With the
Yes.
attributes, yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I'm just
Yeah.
looking through
Okay. Yeah.
stuff.
Okay. We'll go to abilities then. So abilities are effectively what kind of skills you have. The one is actual skills. Talents are more in natural kind of things. Something that's natural to you that you're good at. Skills are things that you learn through repeated activity of it. And of course, knowledge is exactly what it sounds like, something you've learned through study. So that kind of defines those three groups. Similar to with your attributes, there's a priority system for this one also that you're going to have to take. You're going to take a look at them, and you will give one of them a 13 as your primary, secondary is 9, and tertiary is 5. So you have to kind of think of, am I really good naturally at certain things? Am I good because I've done a lot of activities that have taught me it? Or am I good because I studied? And that kind of gives you an idea of where you're going to give your primary, secondary, and tertiary of 13, 9, and 5. And there are no bonus dots here, unlike before. This is just purely what skills you have. You can still use these things untrained. It's just a little more difficult. Like, you don't have to have any skill to fire a gun. It just will maybe not have the result you're looking for.
Yeah. All right, so sorry, I was filling out my last specialty.
Sure.
What were the numbers? I gotta work
13,
with?
9, and 5.
13. Okay.
The thing about this one also is when you look at them is it's easy to want to have a very high rank in something, but there definitely is good reason to kind of spread them out too, in amongst them, because you can find a lot of good abilities. I mean, unless your attacker is another vampire and you're jumping in the river, then you're in trouble because they'll follow you. Also, I think it's... if you're a Semiche, you can't cross the water, I think. I'd remember. Mm-hmm. Good old
And
Semiche.
would 2 be like average in this case as well, or is it like, what would average be for like most people?
If you can look at an ability, it goes, 1 is a novice. You're basically new at it. 2 is practice. You've got a little practice. 3 is competent. 4 is expert, and 5 is master, to give you an idea of it.
Okay.
It's a little different because there is no, like, average. It's just how well you've learned it.
And 5 is the maximum again, right?
Yes. That's you're a master at whatever you're doing.
Right. What is animal ken? Is that just like being good with the animals?
It's like an animal empathy kind of skill. I would basically describe it as. You're like, you understand the behavior of animals. You can kind of like train them or like try to calm them or arrange them. That's a good way of thinking about it. It's like I'm trying to get like the animal to like get along with me. It's like an animal empathy. Is best to describe it.
Okay.
Yeah, animal handling from D&D would be a good example of basically what it is. Animal kin.
Okay.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Definitely some skills that are always good. Awareness is like your perception. That's a good way of describing it. If you're looking at that one.
What would the difference be between perception and awareness? Because I know perception has its own thing as well.
Like awareness, alertness, perception. Well, perception is your actual attribute. That's your natural body's perceptive nature, like how good your senses are.
Okay.
Alertness is like noticing things around you. Awareness is like your instinctual reaction to more unusual things around you, usually supernatural.
Right.
So between the two of them are basically like your perception skills, awareness and alertness. Different reasons for using them. Let's see here. Subterfuge is your lying skill. If you're a character that lies a bunch.
Right.
I mean, most of the other ones do say a lot for themselves. I think academics is your general study. So if you, it's more like the liberal arts science kind of thing. If you're thinking about that one.
Right.
And occult, if you ever take that, it's not only maybe knowing vampire lore, it's understanding the occult, folklore, and stuff like that in general. And you might just specialize more in knowing vampire lore that you would have learned, which is an interesting thing to look at that one for that one. It's a little more open that way.
Right.
Let's see. And they do mention hobby, talent, professional skill, and expert knowledge, which are basically I want something else that's not listed here.
Right.
So if you have one of those, let me know, and we can talk about establishing that. If there's something that isn't represented here that you're like, you know what, I want to be able to do that.
I think it covers most of what I want to do pretty well.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm not thinking of anything outside of this.
No, it's just fine. There aren't actually a lot of times that you hit that point in time where you're going to be thinking of a lot of extra.
Yeah, I'm mostly thinking of stuff I'm trying to think of how much knowledge my character would have on these specific things.
Yes.
Specifically,
Now,
because,
I'm going to note now, these aren't the only points you're going to spend in these areas. There will be some bonuses that you can move around, but we'll worry about those in a little bit.
Right.
Okay.
The basics are these numbers here. And you can get more during the game, of course.
Right.
The leveling system is basically every session we play, you get some experience points for playing through the game, and everything on your sheet has a cost. So the more experience points you have, the more you can spend to increase those.
I think I'm happy with it.
Okay.
I think I'm okay. Yeah, I had to count every single one.
I think I'm good with knowledge and skills. I still gotta do talents though.
I'm getting there.
I shall
No.
take a look.
Yeah, my line of thinking is basically, he was a cool, popular kid, got ugly, and then he's like, all right, I gotta be a nerd now.
Oh,
That's all that's left for me.
it's hitting close to home, huh?
Yeah.
High school's over now. I really wanted to pick the one that had my videos have over 100,000 views on YouTube. I wanted that one, but I didn't.
Which one was that?
I can't remember. Where is it? I think it was performance.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, 2
Yeah,
old performances. Your internet videos have over 100,000 views.
Well, you know, you can still make those videos. None of you are Losombra, so you show up on video cameras.
Yeah, that's true. We've got it.
Mhm.
Nice.
So, for those of you that have a ability of 4 or higher in anything, guess what? You once again get a specialty of those.
Oh shit.
Like a good example would be for performance. If you have a performance of 4, you could specialize in singing. You know, that could be your specialty for your performances. They do give examples of specialties for all of these also, so you can use those pretty easily.
What would expression be? Is that like...
You get your point across. It's like, you're basically skilled at conveying information very easily, even with gestures.
I feel like my character, he's too deformed to be able to have anything in that. None of that. He does not get it across.
Yeah. It's, when they say, like, get it across, they mean, like, however version of it you do, whether it's, again, like, specialties, acting, poetry, fiction, whatever, social media. However you do it, you basically express yourself in such a way that people would understand it very well and kind of, like, eat it up kind of thing.
Right.
It's like all of them have good places. It's just like that diving into your character's head and being like, well, would I have any kind of skill in this? And then how much would I have learned?
Yeah, I'm imagining my guy as like, you know, he was basically being groomed to be sort of like, you know, big man,
Yeah.
office boy. So he's got like some knowledge, but it's not complete. Like that's why he's got 1 point in like finance and law and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And not like a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. From what I've read about the Ventru, I put 4 into finance and some into law and some into politics because I figure my gangster started off pretty low on the totem pole and eventually worked his way up to be in charge of at least a couple of businesses,
Yeah.
legal or otherwise, and basically proved himself successful in those. But he's not particularly physical or imposing. He just knows his way around all that
So,
stuff.
Dunce and Carpe, it looks like the two of you will have a couple of ability specializations then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm done here.
Okay. All right. So,
Okay.
after we get through that, the next one is actually a pretty big one. It's disciplines. Disciplines
yes.
are your vampire powers. So, what's important about disciplines at this point in time when you're starting your character is you are choosing from the disciplines which are your clan disciplines. Each clan has 3 disciplines that divine their powers. So, you are very free to have 1 dot in each. You could have 3 dots in one of those disciplines and be very powerful at it. So let's quickly go to the clans so I can kind of go over all the disciplines. I have to scroll through stuff. I guess that's the only thing about a PDF is you kind of have to do it. So Bruja, their disciplines are celerity, potence, and presence. Celerity is supernatural speed. That's the easiest way to say it. You can do things like gain extra actions in a turn with celerity by using some blood. Potence is supernatural strength. And presence is kind of the unnatural presence of a vampire, is the good way of describing it. let me kind of like give you an idea of some of the abilities of presence so you understand that a little bit more.
I really, I'm looking at the streetwise specialties, and I really like that free Wi-Fi is one of them.
Wait, really?
I just know all the Wi-Fi spots, dude. I
Yes.
got you. I
Nice.
might actually go with that one just because it fits my character. It's like the weakest one on there, but it just makes sense. He'd know all the Wi-Fi passwords, dude.
Yeah, it's just like you can connect to anything no matter where you are. Is useful.
It is useful, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking
Nice.
Wi-Fi boys.
So around the 140s to above are where all the discipline information are. If you're looking up the disciplines,
Is that on the PDF number or the
that's
actual
the PDF
page?
number. Yes. That
If
is
you've
the
got
other-
Foxit, it should be bookmarked on the left.
Oh yeah, I never used that feature because I'm the worst.
I don't even know how to, so you won't.
It's like a little arrow to the left.
Damn, necromancy.
You're using Foxit, right?
I am using Foxit.
Well, Jess.
I no.
Oh, then you won't have it. You
Yeah.
dweeb.
Where does it tell you what disciplines each clan gets?
It'll be under your clan. As I said, like
Oh, there it is.
Bruja is celerity, potence, and presence. Presence is an emotional manipulation, is the best way to describe it. It's your ability to kind of like mess with people. Like the first level of it is awe, which you can kind of fill people with a sense of awe. And the more successful you are at your check, which is a charisma performance check, so that might be like, ooh, not good at that. But it might be sort of like a thing to get people like kind of stupefied a little bit. Nosferatu are obfuscate, of course, which is the ability to hide yourself. Animalism, which is your ability to kind of connect and manipulate animals and things like that. And they have potence also, the super strength. That's an interesting combination. Basically, like, you could hide in the shadows, summon rats, and then punch the crap out of someone as a Nosferatu, if you really wanted to. Ventru have Dominate, Fortitude, and Presence. Dominate is exactly what it sounds like. You can manipulate someone's mind, control them. Fortitude is unnatural toughness. If you have Fortitude, you're going to take less damage. You could do even, with enough Fortitude, you can do things like soak sunlight for a little while. Basically be like, I'm going to walk out in the sun for a short period of time and not die. With enough Fortitude, you can do that. Because Fortitude is the only thing you can roll to soak sunlight, pretty much.
Okay.
And of course, Presence, as I was talking about, is emotional manipulation more. So that's the kind of Ventru disciplines.
Okay. And how many dots do we get
You
in?
have only 3 to split between these. So that's a tough choice all of you have to make, is if you want to have... And as I said, you don't have to take all of them. You could take just, like, if you wanted to, you could just take 3 dots in Fortitude and be like, I'm tough! Again, you could also split it up that you have 1 dot in each. There is the possibility you can get a couple more dots in disciplines before the end of the character creation, though. But right now, just focus on these 3.
So, I've got an interesting thing that I just read because I was looking at my academics skill stuff. Apparently, you can get a specialty for academics even at less than 4 dots.
If it specifically says that under academics, then you can go under that. It's been a while since I've read through each of these individually.
Yeah.
So,
I just thought it was a neat thing to point out.
I think
I don't know,
that does make sense for academics, though.
Yeah, because I was actually, and then I might actually lower my academics as well, because after reading, I'm probably not at a professor's level of academics, if I had to guess. So, I'll lower mine and put it in, like,
Where is this on the
finance
PDF?
or investigation.
What are you looking for?
No, law.
The list of
Disciplines?
like yeah.
Go to 140. I believe it is. 140 are in disciplines. The
Okay.
entire section starts at... Give me a second here. I think it starts at 135. It is a
Okay.
big section. You're not going
Yeah.
to worry. Okay, the thing is, it will list all the powers from 1 to 10 in any kind of discipline. 10 being what, well, they only list up to 9 in this one. 10 is for antediluvians. 4th generation is 9. Effectively, that's kind of where you get to, where you're figuring out the maximums. It's because it goes 7 is 7, 6, 6 is 7. 4 is 5 is 8. Yeah, yep. If you guys had been the maximum, as soon as you get to 7th generation and lower, you start getting above 5s, or you can get above 5s. But like, if you ever want to like read the ridiculous powers, those high level discipline powers are just ridiculous. I'm glad they're not listing the 10 dot ones, the ones that antediluvians can use, because they are insane. They are just crazy. I think it's
How do you know I am an antediluvian?
because they have no stats that actually work in the game.
Oh no.
The 3rd generation. Here's a story that probably I will keep in because it was technically part of the Gehenna storyline, but I like this one, and it was just a precursor. The antediluvian for Ravnos clan woke up in India. So a group of mages called the Technocracy, who are basically techno-mages, decided to fight him because they're all anti-normal supernatural. They nuked him twice, and then used a solar cannon from a space laser, plus a small army, and finally defeated him.
Oh.
Two
they did?
They did. A concentrated solar cannon from space that redirected like sunlight from across like a satellite network onto him after nuking him twice.
That's not so bad.
That's to soften them up, right?
That was to soften him up.
So what page is the disciplines? I just finished putting my specialties. So
134 it starts at.
134.
Yeah. I think they tried a couple other things to defeat him, but like it just goes to show you that the antediluvians, when they are awake, because vampires, when you get old, you begin to sleep more and more and go basically into stasis called torpor for longer periods of time, and all of them are basically, if they're not dead, asleep somewhere. But
Don't blame them.
no, well, they kind of can't control it at times. I think the only one that's mostly active is the Tremere one, because the Tremere one totally Diablerized a different clan's antediluvian and took over that, and then made his own clan. So he's the only one that's more active, because he's younger.
Oh.
Yep. That's also why the Tremere are this kind of tenuous thing. They basically made the clan they Diablerized the leader of out to be these, like, horrible, horrible beings, so they had an excuse to murder them all off. They're pleasant people.
Yeah, they really sound it.
Yeah. Mm-mm. And the Salubre, which is the clan they murdered, were kind of weird because they had healing powers, which is kind of weird for a vampire. Yes. I think at higher ranks, they can even get, like, immunity to sunlight with their powers.
Wow.
Yeah. I love the discipline's higher ranks. They're so insane. They really are.
I think I've done my
Caine
disciplines, right?
is everything. You can't stat him out because you have to consider that at 3rd generation is the 10 dots. So what would be 2nd or 1st generation? There is, like... the stats would be yes. You would just basically say.
Yes.
Can you do this? Yeah. Yeah.
I could beat Caine.
Mm-hmm.
And I will help you solve that puzzle.
He is a lonely, lonely boy. Caine has had a lot of problems. He keeps getting girlfriends that get horribly, like, murdered or don't like him. I mean,
I think you got those backwards. I think they don't like him and then they get horribly murdered.
It can be both. It can be both directions.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, like, he kind of fell in love with one of the second generations he sired and totally kind of mind screwed her into being his, girlfriend, kind of, at the behest of another, who basically taught him a ability of vampires called a blood bond. So he used that. Effectively, if you keep drinking from another vampire and not like drinking to kill them, eventually you become bonded to that vampire for taking in their blood and basically are enamored with them.
Oh.
So it is dangerous to drink another vampire's blood. Though it is the most.
You guys want to drink my blood?
Lilith was the one that taught him to basically not wander the wastes. Though it might have been also Lilith that taught him the blood bond. It's a character known as the Hag, or no, sorry, the Crone, which may be Lilith or maybe another character. We don't know, because stories from back then are ridiculous and filled with mythology. The amount of crazy myths that exist out there, insane. Like the Nosferatu. It is important to note, the Nosferatu all hate their antediluvian. Because the fourth generation that sired all the Nosferatu that we know today is one that basically rebelled against the Nosferatu original antediluvian. And so that one has basically a group of its other descendants who are specifically trained to murder off all Nosferatu. They are small in numbers, but they exist. The Bruges antediluvian, the original was murdered off and endobolized by one of its fourth gens. I think it's Trolley, which is the current antediluvian. So that's a pleasant one. The Ventru one, it's probably dead. We don't know what happened. It was supposed that it was murdered leaving the second city, as it was kind of falling.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
Probably. There's a lot of ridiculous rumors about who killed them. Most blame Trolley, because apparently, like, when Trolley diabolized Bruges, Ventru was said to, like, leave the city to go find Caine again and be like, hey, I think things are going badly. Can we, like, I know this entire curse happened, but, can we fix this? And apparently, like, as soon as he left the city, he got murdered. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Or you could be like the Malkavian antediluvian, who is said to, in more modern appearances, appear as, like, a bunch of little girls. Because Malkavians.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That'll do it.
Because they're crazy. And also, their antediluvian may be, like, just a mental network between all of them. Yeah. The storylines are crazy. I love them. I love the weird storylines of Vampire. How you guys looking on disciplines, then?
I have
I'm good.
one.
You got one.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. I'll take a look at character sheets.
Yeah.
Okay, so some Predators. Excellent.
There's a lot.
There are, but since you really have, like, a limited choice right now, though.
Yeah. It's just that I'm doing a lot of scrolling. Like, I've been in necromancy land for a while, and I haven't.
Necromancy and
Chemistry.
And the other one is, I think, thaumaturgy, are awful long.
Yeah, I just got out of necromancy land.
Yeah, I'm still trying to escape.
Dunce.
Yes.
You don't have dominate right now. It's animalism, obfuscate, or potence.
Oh, well, yeah, I know dominate is like the overarching, I wasn't sure what to call it, sort of thing. Well, I gotta go back up.
Oh no. Good luck.
Okay.
You're gonna need it. I still haven't escaped.
I mean, the good thing about yours, Jess, is that two of them are like carbon copy, just like, I get numbers advantages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Celerity and potence are just like, Yeah, I get bonuses.
Yeah, I was like, I can be fast and strong. I'm good.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
That's just one of the easy things about Bruja. They are technically fairly easy to build because you don't have to worry about the numbers as much.
Thank God. Anything more complicated might have done me in.
You could have taken some presents if you really wanted to and been like, ooh.
What page is domination on? I can't find it again.
Let's see here. Dominate would be under, if I can get
159.
159?
Yep.
I found myself down in 454 somehow, so...
Yeah. The thing about Dominate is it's not a clan discipline for you, though, is what I'm saying. So you can't take it right now. You can learn it later. Or you could possibly spend some bonus points to have other ones. But you're restricted to animalism.
Let me open up the faucet
obviously.
twice, that way I can...
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Because then you can go to your clan and see the clan one.
Yeah.
Oh no, don't tell me this error loading pages again. No!
Why is it not letting me open another version of it?
I don't know.
That's weird, because usually Foxit will let you do that.
Yeah, I must be doing something wrong.
Well, animalism is 136. That's dominating beasts. Let me try to get to obfuscate, which is below necromancy.
Yeah, I think animalism is one that I want anyway.
Obfuscate is your ability to hide. It's 192. Like the first one is like Cloak of Shadows, which you're like just like I'm shadowed. Then you also get Potence, which is just super strength, which is 200.
200.
The only thing about these is even if you don't take one of them, these are your easy to learn ones.
Right.
Because they're your natural inclination to learn these 3. So like, if you didn't choose one of these for whatever reason right now, you can learn it later.
Right. Okay. What page is animalism on again?
136.
136.
Okay, the current situation of the other supernatural forces. That is a good question. The werewolves have always had a cairn in Central Park. Basically, the werewolves exist as a section of that. But the worm has always kind of been there too. So they've had to worry about that. So werewolves, stay out of Central Park if you're a vampire. Because
yeah.
On straight stats, werewolf versus vampire, werewolf will win.
No!
Yeah. Because werewolves are combat
Hackers.
experts. They don't have like the same kind of supernatural powers as you guys. They
I'll
have
seduce them.
They have murder. They have murder and more murder. Because they heal every round. You have to spend blood to heal. They just do it. Yeah. And they also travel in packs. So you don't find many lone wolves. Hey, kitty.
Yeah, I don't want to run into any of them.
No.
So what I'm hearing is buy Central Park. Got it.
Yeah, let's run them out of town. Let's buy the park.
Oh no, not run them out of town. Own their home.
Uh-huh.
Oh, just, okay. Charge them rent?
They can also get tanned. That is an advantage they have. They can get tanned.
Oh,
I
no.
mean, I can't anyway. It's I really miss out on nothing.
But personally, in real life, I just burn. I go from
I-
white to burn.
Yeah.
I am so white. I went to Florida and I had an allergic reaction to the sun.
Oh no. I passed out in the sun one time, just laying on my stomach, and when I woke up, they were just like gross, disgusting. Like my back looked like a boomer from Left 4 Dead, basically.
You became the Nosferatu. You were.
Yeah, I was a
you were preparing for the
Nosferatu.
stage.
Let's see here. Mages. There's been a lot of mages in there. There always is. There's a bunch of houses and chantries. there's going to be technocrats because guess what? Technology and, you know, a city go hand in hand, so they have a strong presence in New York, especially at the seat of the United Nations in Wall Street. If you're talking wraiths, in the Shadowlands, the version of New York in there is of necropolis, so that's a great thing. And there had been a big battle in Manhattan with changelings. So, I mean, they're all there. Oh, you do also have some kindred of these, some Kuai-Jin in New York recently, in Chinatown. And, of course, let's see, hunters. Hunters you always have to worry about, because they're hunter.
Right.
I mean, there are some changelings in the area, some of the, you know, definitely. And I'm not going to include them, but there are mummies and demons there, too, because there always is. Since the Sixth Maelstrom, mummies have taken up residence in parts of New York. And the Fallen, the demons, have a court in there also. Which... demon sounds more horrible than it actually is. I'm just going to say that. It always sounds very terrible as a group. But,
Yeah.
But they're technically fallen angels. That are...
So I think... sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think what I'm going to do for my disciplines is I'm going to go all in on animalism. I'm just going to be a big old animal boy.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, because I live in the sewers. I'm like chilling with rats all the time.
you basically can like summon rats to your aid, you know?
Yeah, like, come on,
You're
rats,
the Pied
let's
Piper.
go.
That's what you are. You're gonna summon your rats, steal the children, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like, you could definitely steal children if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, children are basically animals, right?
Yeah.
Whoever ends up taking that spot at the company I wanted to work at, they're getting took by rats. That's all I'm saying. Might be me, might not be. Probably me.
Yeah, but they won't see you coming.
Yeah, they'll see the rats.
All right.
Yeah, I think I'm going with 2 in fortitude and 1 in presence.
Cool. That's pretty good.
Because I like giving presents.
I mean,
Aw.
you're just like, you there. You're in all of me. Just sit there. And your rats are a great way to correct information if you basically control them and manipulate them into doing it. So now, let's talk backgrounds. Backgrounds is the next thing we're going to talk about. So, important for backgrounds, as I told you, you get 3 dots in generation. So basically, you can write down under your backgrounds generation and add 3 dots to it to begin with. You can still up to 5 if you really want to, but you don't need to. That could be all you take if you want to in this backgrounds. So backgrounds are effectively little things dealing with your past and future that connect together to figure out kind of a little bit more of who you are.
Okay.
I'll talk about each of them and you can kind of think about them. Allies are kind of mortal connections that you might have that are still allied with you. These could be family, friends, whether or not like you earn these friends after you were a vampire, but allies are traditionally mortals that you have that are connected with you. There's alternate identity. You have a false identity, and basically documentations. None of you should take Black Hand membership because that's being in the Sabbat, and you're not Sabbat. So don't worry about that one. Contexts are basically sources of information you have. The more contacts the higher contacts you have, the more connections you have.
Is there a page for this? For this stuff?
Yes, it's before the disciplines, so it's.
Oh no, I just made it past them.
It's okay. You can. Oh wait, no, you're not on Fox.
You
I'm
can
not.
just scroll. Just scroll. You can just scroll it up.
It starts at 118.
Yeah, thank you.
That's the document number, not the page number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, for each rank and contact, you have a major contact that you can go to. Allies is the same. It's each rank in it, you have another ally, and the higher rank in allies you get, the better they are. Domain is a physical territory you have. like a building or a neighborhood that you have kind of eked out under your control. It's usually for feeding your domain. It's
And my sewer.
Yeah, that's what it kind of be. It would be like a area sewer system.
It's my little sewer.
Fame is fame in mortal society, so you can be famous in mortal society. Generation, if you look at the generation chart, you're starting at 10th, because I'm giving you the 3 free, which means you have a maximum blood pool of 13 and can spend 1 blood a turn. If you would take more of them, higher blood pool, and the more blood you can spend per turn for other things, up to 8th.
Right.
Herd is a group of mortals that you can feed in without fear. They're basically, for whatever reason, they're enamored with you because you've spent enough time with them that you can go and feed at them without much trouble.
Would that be like my rats?
That would be people. Your rats are something you could just do anyway. You could summon rats to eat them. Rats are not very nutritious, though, and so you'd have to probably eat a lot of them and probably kill a lot of them in order to.
Yeah, it'll be alright. There's probably a ton of rats in
There
the
is
sewers,
probably
though.
a ton of rats, though. Influence is your pull with mortal society. So, like, fame is how famous you are in mortals. Influence is basically, like, you can influence things like mayors and stuff, or politics. Mentor is who taught you, how powerful they were, basically. Kind of position that they were in. Resources, how much money you have. Yep, that's something that, I mean, take a look at it and think closely, because if you have 0 resources, you basically kind of like, you're very...
Live in the sewer.
You live in the sewer, but you also don't have anything in the sewer. You're basically like kind of hanging around it there. You still might, even if you're living in a sewer, might want some resources, because that could be like computers you own or things like that.
Yeah, I imagine I've got some resources from when I abandoned my home.
Yeah,
took some,
you could just have like money or like stocks or things like that you can use.
Yeah.
Retainers are people that are loyal to you. Many are ghouls, but they don't necessarily need to be. They could also be like people that you've enthralled enough that they're like loyal to you, kind of things. They could even be animal ghouls if you want them. Some of them too. You won't know rituals. Status is your status within vampire society, and that is about it that you have to worry about.
And how many dots do we get in backgrounds?
You get 5 right now. But I will let you know that if you want a lot more backgrounds, these are the easiest to get when we do freebie points later on.
Right.
They are the cheapest. So backgrounds are also the hardest to raise, because you have to raise them in-game with story rather than experience. So I would consider thinking about each of these and what you want as your character, to start out with at least. As much as it's cool to get a lot of other stuff when you're buying bonuses, definitely think about this one at most.
Is that 5 in addition to the 3 that we have in Generation?
Yep, I gave you 3 bonus ones in Generation.
Heck yeah.
So I have 8 total. Let's see. Anything else about New York I can list when I was talking about it? I think that's about it. There's a lot of major things in New York, but I'm gonna say, like, you're starting in New York. The game will not always be in New York.
Okay.
You should travel. Where to? I will not kind of spill the beans on that one.
Going to Canada, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Does the bonus points depend on how many dots you already have in the thing?
No. Freebie points, when we spend those, they just have a set cost for whatever you're raising. Experience points, when you're raising stuff with experience points, the higher it is, the more expensive it is.
It's extremely tempting for me to just pull everything into domain and just be like, sewer man. I'm taking over the sewer.
You could have like inherited like a sewer area from your mentor / sire that now you're like, well, I'm in charge now. Hey guys.
That'd be so good. No, I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think I've just got like a little cubby in a sewer.
Probably somewhere in Manhattan. It's a very popular area for
yeah. Maybe I've got like a noisy neighbor, Nosferatu. Always yelling at each other. Hey! My part of the sewer. Don't make me sick my rats on you.
Ah, hey, I'll sick my rats on you!
Ah! You won't do shit.
You just see like 2 rats like facing off also.
I'm just gonna hire the rat catchers.
Get pest control out.
Yep.
That's his greatest weakness.
That works until it becomes Night Shift from Stephen King. Is that Night Shift? I'm thinking of the one with the giant rats and the tiny rats. The giant rat monster. Damn it! I heard someone call out Uncle Matt, but
No.
I didn't see them. So someone was being adorable somewhere. But I like how every time I move away from my head from where it's at, it changes my lighting because of the window behind me.
Yeah.
So I've got it as retainer right now, but retainer is described as like basically a ghoul or a person that's like loyal to you.
Like
I was thinking of having one specific rat that's just like my best buddy, and he's like smarter than the other rats.
It could be an actual ghoul rat. Like you fed it some of its blood. Yeah.
Oh, I want a ghoul rat. I've got a ghoul rat.
Yeah, it would have things. Ghouls get things like, they don't get the same disciplines as you, but they can take things like potence and fortitude. So it would have it could be a rat with like super strength and super toughness.
Got a strong rat boy.
It's your little bodyguard. It looks after you.
Yeah, because I'm not that strong. He comes over. He's like, yeah, what's up?
Creep up behind them, bite some ankles, you know.
He's like my rat general. When I call the rat army, he's leading them in.
He's got the hat on.
I kind of like the suggestion that was put in chat of you also having a gator.
A gator.
Ooh. Like you could have like a ghoul gator because you got animalism. We could have like we could have a couple of ghoul pets as your retainers.
So I've got my ghoul gator leading my not my ghoul rats.
Well,
I've got my ghoul gator leading my rat army.
Well, yeah, like the gator could like guard your home, and you could also like if you took 2 levels of it, you could also have the rat as like a little buddy you could send into places and stuff too.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
But so
I'm
like
liking this.
You have a gator guarding your home, like it's a vampiric gator, like a ghoul gator back at your house.
I like that someone probably had to also flush this gator for him to get the guns. It's the toilet gator.
Yes.
You have toilet gator, and it's really angry.
Alright, I've done it. I've put 2 in retainers. I have a ghoul gator and a ghoul rat.
Nice.
Let's go.
I can imagine you stood on top of your gator and he's moving slowly and you're just using him to make, you know...
Ride him into battle.
Yeah.
Give the gator celerity and all of a sudden you've got a skateboard that's deadly.
Do I have to decide what my rat and gator have respectively, or are they just kind of like fortitude, strength boys?
They have the 3 physicals they really can get.
Okay.
If we need to figure out their exact stats, we'll worry about it. Because rats have very much, like, no stats, so it's sort of like, it's like the very tiny stats with rat, with some supernatural enhancements, you know?
You know how people always get, like, there's, like, always rumors of people getting, like, their butt eaten by a gator from the toilet? It's gonna really happen now. It's real. And it's me.
It's me.
Nice.
Nice.
Alright, so if we we all have backgrounds. We can move on to your virtues. Yay, virtues.
Woo.
So
Page 127, by the way.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, yes. So, let's see here. I believe we have you with specific ones of those. Let me just check here. You're going to be conscience, self-control, courage. Just letting you know that now. Those are the 3 that you're going to have. Because conviction and instinct are specifically Sabat, because they think differently.
Where do we put this? Oh, wait, it's already there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You just kind of cross off the conviction and instinct. Well, I guess you can't, because I'm for a
not
second
even
there.
there for me.
I was thinking like it might not be even there for you. It's on the normal character
Yeah.
sheet, which I've been referencing. So you have 7 dots to split between those. So just like before, you kind of just split some dots between it. These 3 also determine your humanity and your willpower. Your conscious plus self-control is your humanity. And your courage is what you use to figure out your willpower. And each of these starts right now as a 5. Up to 5. 1 to 5. You start with 1 in it and can go up.
How many do we get to spend?
7 total to split between them.
So does that 7 include the ones that are already there?
No, those are extras. You start with 1.
Okay.
The reason they put 1 in each is so that you at least have 1 in willpower and have a minimum of... Well, I guess you can never have a minimum of 2 humanity to start, because you can only... You have 3 points that you're going to be spending in the 2 humanity areas. You know, your humanity will at least be a little bit to start out with. That sounds about right for Toreadors. That sounds about right, chat.
Alright.
They have crazy abilities sometimes. And most of them, they pretty much tell you what they are. Conscience is basically how much of a conscience you have. Courage is how brave you are, and you will have to make courage checks against. Well, courage, because it is your willpower, that determines there are some checks that you can make to definitely be worrying about things. And self-control will be important, because that will be, you know, not things like avoiding frenzy and going crazy when you're exposed to things like sunlight. Because you can lose control and go into like an unnatural fear too, other than just going crazy and attacking things.
Right.
I mean, it's like you're facing the utter doom of you, so I don't know why you wouldn't be afraid of like the sun, which it touches you and like burns your flesh into nothingness. You wouldn't be afraid. So, okay. Once you have those, we can derive humanity and willpower. Yes, your humanity will be your conscience plus self-control. Willpower is equal to your courage. Your discipline determines your blood pool. I have to figure out what page merits and flaws are. We'll do freebie points next.
Oh, this bit looks confusing. God damn it.
Oh, where you're looking at the character sheet.
Yeah.
It's just adding numbers together, pretty much. The top 2 are your humanity, and the bottom one is your willpower. So, like...
so just add it up,
yeah.
basically.
So, like, CarpeDM got it right, that he's got 6 in
humanity
and 4...
4 willpower.
Yes.
Hey, same here.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, hang on. What am I adding up?
The top 2 are your humanity, and the bottom one on its own is your willpower.
So conscious and self-control.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That one. And then what's the... So self-control and conscience are humanity, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
courage is your willpower.
Courage is your willpower. Okay. Ah, okay. Yeah.
Oh, they don't give a nice handy-dandy chart on your humanity right now. Or at least it's not in this section, unfortunately. They give the willpower. But I guess it's somewhere else in the book that they have... I have to remember where it is in the book, where they have the what your humanity is and what you can get away with without punishing your humanity, basically.
Oh.
Like, if you're at a 10, you can't do anything really badly, or you start taking checks to lose humanity. Where if you're at, like, 1, you're, like, completely inhuman and can do just horrible things, but the fact is then you probably will end up just doing horrible things almost uncontrollably. The character sheet doesn't auto-calculate, it doesn't look like. It's just pretty much...
Yeah, I thought it did at first, and then I changed my stuff and realized it did not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. You're not going to worry about paths. We're not going to do those. That's something... that's a quagmire I'm not dealing with, as I've tried before in the past. Let us worry about freebie points, because guess what? That's the next thing on the list, and that's an important thing to talk about. So, you have a number of bonus points you can spend to basically enhance your character. 15, to be exact.
Whoa.
Everything on your character has a cost, though. A discipline costs you 7 of your freebie points to take 1 dot in it. An attribute, 5. An ability, 2. A background costs you 1. A virtue costs you 2. Humanity costs you 2. So the thing is, you can get... if you don't feel like your virtues should be as high, like higher, you can go humanity 2, and then willpower costs you 1. So you don't have to put up. You could put up your courage more to 5 if you have a 4 or something for 2 points, which would still give you a willpower also. But if you really want a lot of willpower, it's 1-to-1. Same with backgrounds.
So wait,
1-to-1.
What are they again? Like the costs?
It's going to be on page 82. I'm sorry, not page 82. That's 82 of the book. It is 90.
90.
Yes. It's got the freebie point chart.
Okay.
Now what are the details of it? I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. And how much do we get?
15 is the basic you get. Now, I will allow you guys to do merits and flaws, which we'll talk about after, which can add more. But we'll worry about that in a little bit.
Could add another retainer.
You
get
could.
Get a third pet. No, I think I'm good with 2 for now.
Okay. Important thing about disciplines, too, is if you purchase a discipline with freebie points, it does not need to be a clan discipline. But you should explain why you would have one that isn't from your clan. So if there's like a discipline somewhere that you would like to take a dot in, because let me tell you, if you looked at the disciplines and you see one that you really like, that you feel like your character would have, or would be cool to have your character have, I would recommend taking a dot in it, because once you take the first dot, it's easier to learn later on and to develop it. But learning the first one, you need a reason to do it. So like Dunce, if you wanted to learn Dominate,
right,
you would have to basically learn it from some other vampire, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if you started with one, you could say like, I have a relationship with someone that would teach you, or something like that. Or maybe your mentor, your sire, if he raised you for a while, knew it also, and he taught you that he had learned it from somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's why this point here is a very tough choice, because this is the easiest point to this is the easiest point to get other disciplines you might want, and the easiest place to get more backgrounds right now.
The discipline of reptilian powers.
There is one that gives you oh god, I'm forgetful because of course I am.
Serpentis?
Serpentis is weird. And it's the followers of Set had that one. It's
Yeah.
just, it's just described as weird. I'm gonna go for that one.
The reptilians.
You become a lizard person.
Protein. Protein, which Gangrel have, is the one where you enhance yourself with like animalistic or beast-like features. Like the first level of it, you can grow claws.
Ooh.
What is vicissitude?
Oh, that is the Semiche clan special ability. It is fleshcraft, and also the Semiche are traditionally Sabbat. So,
Oh, yeah, probably didn't learn that.
yeah, not an impossibility, but if you had a very epic story behind it, maybe.
Well, I was thinking maybe like I tried to learn it because I was trying to fix my face, if that's even what that would be.
Oh.
It traditionally to like you to like work on yourself, you have to be pretty powerful at it, though.
Well, he wouldn't necessarily have mastered it to that level. He just like tried really hard to and picked up a slight knowledge of it and kind of failed.
The thing is, you'd have to have technically learned it from someone. So the thing is,
That's true.
There could be, if you really wanted to, what I could say is, perhaps your sire was a Sabbat.
Maybe.
Well,
I'm not even completely sold on it. I don't even know what it necessarily does. I'm just like kind of wondering. And
well, the first level is malleable visage, which you can alter your body parameters for a period of time.
I don't think I'm into that. I think like yeah. I just thought it would be neat if you like tried to do it but failed miserably.
You could also have interest in it that you haven't worked on. Like if that's the thing too, is you could be like, vicissitude, interesting.
Yeah. Maybe I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out how I would have gone about getting obfuscation.
I taught you.
That one's a little easier, yeah, because I mean,
would you teach me?
If I learn it, hold on.
Yeah, that is a requirement to begin with. That one of you has. If you're doing that.
Yeah, I didn't have it to begin with, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I could learn it and then like say that I taught you at some point.
Well, the thing is, like Assamites, followers of Set, Malkavians, Nosferatu are known for obfuscate.
Okay.
So you could have learned from any of those.
Okay.
Granted,
And as a crime lord, I would have had a lot of contact with Assamites, I imagine.
Yeah, if
and
you're going crime lord, yes, you could have gone for the assassins, the Assamites. So you could kind of excuse that, perhaps like you made a deal with one of them at one time and like learned it, but that might mean that I could use that contact against you some point in time in the future is the only thing, like if I need to story wise.
That's true.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
This obviously would have been one within the Camarilla, though.
Assamite are very mercenary-like, so they're not really aligned. They're on their own. So
I know, but I would have gone for one that was more
aligned with the Camarilla.
Aligned with the Camarilla.
Yeah. So it's one that basically normally works for the Camarilla. You know, it works normally for you. So that would have definitely you could have had one that would have done that.
So if I wanted to connect myself to that person, would that be an ally? Or would I pick it as a mentor? Or would I just leave it alone and let you just have it be whoever?
It depends on how. If you wanted a little bit more powerful, like the connection that you have, you could do something like ally. If you wanted to put a dot in ally and kind of like say that's your connection there. That would like. Let me just see here, because I think ally. Allies are traditionally mortals, though. Is the only thing.
Okay.
What it could be though is a contact, maybe. you could use for that. So it's like someone that you have you can like get for information and stuff more, you know.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. And then perhaps, you know, like you made a deal with him at some point in time that got you to learn obfuscate.
Okay.
Which is something that he probably would be more willing to teach you anyway, because it's specifically not a clan discipline, like one that is only to one clan. You know,
right.
If you were asking him to learn the Assamite's ability, he probably would be a little more like, new?
I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna get obfuscate as well.
Yes.
May as well.
It actually is pretty useful if you want to be stealthy.
Yeah.
I was kind of looking at chemistry. How do you say that?
Chemistry.
Chemistry. I can never pronounce that one quite correctly.
I think it's like chemistry, except with an I instead of the E, and then with an R at the end.
That is the illusion ability of Ravnos.
Ravnos.
Yes. Traditional illusionists. So, what you could say is that perhaps we don't need to express it in the background quite the same way, but maybe you have connections with some Ravnos.
Okay.
That maybe because we could easily say that, like if we wanted to, if you're going to have your sire abandon you, maybe some Ravnos picked you up originally and figured out what you were from, like, you know, were able to figure out what you were and push you in the right direction, you know. So that so that maybe you have this connection with them and that you're kind of thankful for them and kind of stuff. They traditionally are seen as gypsies is the best way to describe them, though that is not entirely correct, but most of the time that's the one that people see.
Okay. They kind of just found her wandering around somewhere.
Kind of confused, picked up on what happened, you know. For whatever reason, they figured out that your sire was a Borussia. They were able to pick up on that and basically put you towards a Borussia that was able to teach you. Whether or not that Borussia, because Borussia, they can be Camarilla, but they can also be Anarchs a lot. So it's up to you how originally connected to the Camarilla where you are, or if you're newly connected to them at all.
Okay, so when we write these two, do we write them down in the disciplines?
It's just be another discipline. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I like that kind of that you could have that connection to some Ravnos. Ravnos are pretty interesting ones, and they might have taught you for, you know, possibly like some help in the future, especially if you let them know you're joining the Camarilla. Maybe you're a way that you can, like, if they're getting into some trouble because they're not actually aligned with the Camarilla, they're just, you know, they're an unaligned clan in the territory of them, you could be a way to connect with them to the Camarilla system and be like, hey, my friends here, they just, you know, want to take care of these things and, you know, like, kind of leave them alone a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
They would not be against getting you to be in a position where they could help keep themselves safe.
Yeah. A little bit of you help me, we'll help you kind of deal.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's not the only one that piqued my interest, so I still have like 8 more points left.
Again, you could also just like put some other backgrounds in, and or like get some more abilities or a tribute or something, or even if you want to have some more humanity or willpower.
How important is being able to spend multiple blood points per turn?
It's not necessarily important, but it can be very powerful. The thing is, it's a two-sided sword. You have to remember, you have a limited blood pool. You will actually have to, like, either have downtime, which I could say you could feed, or go out and try to feed and hopefully be successful to get blood back. Spending more just means you go through that quicker. But it also means that you can activate multiple powers, too, sometimes. Is that a seagull? outside like a window nearby.
Wait, what?
Outside my place. I heard like it sounded like a seagull.
Oh.
It was confusing there for a second. I'm like, why is there a seagull outside my window?
So who would I go to learn like Auspex? If I
Auspex is a fairly common between various clans, so you could definitely.
So it wouldn't be too big of an issue if I just.
Technically, yeah, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Malkavians, Toreadors are traditionally ones that have it.
I've also got 1 point in status, so I imagine there are probably some people that would teach me. You know?
That might be more that you. Well, for status for you, it probably might be that whatever reason, you've got good status in amongst the Nosferatu.
Yeah.
That's probably the best play, and you might even have some of that status going into the Camarilla. You've provided some information somewhere that helped them out, and gotten you a little bit of like people know to go to you for some information sometimes. You know.
Right.
You've been successful. But yeah, there are groups that you could have learned it from. Yeah, definitely like Toreador are probably the most likely, or a Malkavian might teach you. Malkavians are crazy.
Yeah, I might have just like went up to one
and
learned it. It's like, hey, teach me in my rat army.
Yeah, and the other problem might be that you're now technically friends with a Malkavian, which is both a good and a bad thing.
Yeah, I'll take it. It's whatever.
Malkavians are kept in the Camarilla because they want to make sure they don't do way too crazy things. It's sort of like, if we keep them close, we can at least moderate them a little bit. Also,
make sure to
some of them are less crazy. They're more like the weird kind of like deep inside crazy that doesn't display it, and those are the ones they keep really close. That moderate the ones that are just batshit.
Yeah, I imagine I became friends with like another like rather new Malkavian. Like they're still crazy because that's what Malkavians are, but you know.
Just a little different.
Yeah.
Okay, now I was going to look up merits and flaws. We're pretty good on freebie points. Because I'm going to be searching all over if I don't look up the actual page number. It's the appendix. Does a sewer neighbor, rival, and best friend need screen time? I think this is fine.
Yeah, we're all just gonna meet up in my sewer. The angry neighbor's gonna come over. Oh, now you're bringing people over here, huh?
I see how it is, you asshole.
It's like my rats are better than yours. Okay. So.
Just want to point out, I've got 2 domains, so it's a nice sewer.
Yeah, you got a pretty nice area of sewer.
Yeah.
So, is everybody done spending freebie points?
Yeah.
I've got one more. Okay. I'm trying to figure out where to put it.
Background. Just the background.
How important would it be to have like 1 point in status? Because I might just get rid of that 1 point and bump up my domain even more, so I have a nice sewer.
At least 3 bedrooms.
I mean, status means that you have better connections in the vampire society.
I feel that makes sense for my character, actually.
Yeah. Because there are Nosferatus that have very large status in the vampire society. You know, there's every clan that's represented in the Camarilla has basically an elder that represents them in the entire area of New York. So there is a Nosferatu elder somewhere that, hey, guess what? He might know your name. Which is not a bad thing.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm happy.
So the sort of half-last thing to do is 487. So way at the back in the appendices. This is technically optional, but it's something I like. So I'm going to allow you guys to do it because it's one of my things that I love to do in this system. It's merits and flaws. You can take up to 7 points maximum in flaws. Here's how it
7
is.
points.
Flaws give you more freebie points. Merits cost you some. So, you can hike up to 7 points in either of these. If you take 7 points in merits and 7 points in flaws, you get no freebie points. If you spend a little extra in flaws, you get some freebie points to spend somewhere else on your character.
Oh. I think I'm gonna have an extra. I think I'm gonna bump up my what's it called? My domain, and do the freebie point thing. Yeah.
I'm still goddamn scrolling.
Just like 487 is way down there. Like I was just like grab the like thing and just scroll all the way down. Just
I'm spinning as hard as it spins.
I've got a nicer sewer than my neighbor, that's for sure.
Probably. So merits are exactly what they sound like. They're positive bonuses, points in times where you get bonuses to like to various things you're doing. Like a good example of a physical one is efficient digestion, which is actually really good. What it is for every 1 blood point someone normally would consume, you get 2. It doesn't increase your maximum blood point size, but that's a 3-point merit. Is very good. But there's also flaws, which are negative things. Certain ones don't work. Like, well, Dunce, you could technically take disfigured as a flaw also, just to make you even
I
more.
am already, right?
Will you be even more hideous? It's like you're ugly now, like really ugly. This would be like something is like memorably disturbing about you.
Yeah, I'm thinking. So originally, I was like, I had boils on my head. I was already really gross looking. Now my jaw's hanging down. Like part of my jaw's hanging down.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got half a jaw.
It just increases the difficulties of all roles related to social interactions by 2.
That would be really bad for me.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna keep my boils as they are. Keep my jaw.
There's ones that you can't take, like 14th and 15th generation are technically flaws, but I have a certain generation.
Yeah.
Like things like vulnerability to silver is a flaw. You could have that. Permanent fangs, your fangs don't retract, so you can't hide them. Things like, let's see here. There's also mental ones, both physical or mental merits, which there's some pretty cool ones on, and then some flaws. Like you could technically have like lunacy, where you're affected by the phases of the moon. Let's see here. There's social.
You know what? I actually think I might go disfigured, because like, why not double down?
Social has some very interesting ones, and there's also let me get to it. And there's also supernatural merits and flaws, which have some interesting ones. I wonder if they still have that. One of my favorite flaws to have. Let me check and see if it. Oh, they do have. Oh yeah, they have that. They have one of them. They have Lord of the Flies as a one, or can't cross running water as a repelled by crosses. These are all like supernatural flaws. You're not normally done by that. You could have no reflection, which the Sombra already have.
Oh, this is bullshit. I was gonna take monstrous, but I already have it.
They're like, too bad. You already have this.
Damn it.
Permanent fangs sounds nice.
Permanent fangs?
Alright, I'm a child.
Yeah.
I'm not actually gonna have a child.
Well, if you don't have a maximum appearance of 3, then you're good.
Yep.
You're just gonna have to like play off the fact that everybody can see you have really nice vampire fangs all the time. That look.
I'm tempted to get that one too.
Because the thing is, they're
Oh yeah, because humans, they're just gonna think I'm really ugly if they see me without the fangs. Then they see the fangs. Oh.
I was looking at dulled bite because I can imagine her stabbing someone with a knife because she's just got fed up of trying to bite him.
Yeah, that could be one that you have a little trouble, like, you know, getting the bite in to feed.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it makes that makes her more competitive because she's like, well, I can't fucking do this, so I have to do everything else.
Important note: your bite is very interesting because you can heal the wounds from your bite by licking it. So
Unless you
Okay.
have bad teeth.
well, I think there is.
I mean, infectious bite.
well, infectious bite, yes. Well, then
Yeah.
you're just carrying a disease, pretty much. Yeah. You do not automatically lick wounds for feeding clothes, yeah. But normally, yes, you do, when you bite someone, you lick it afterwards because that hides the fact you bit them.
Mm.
I mean, there's a lot of really great flaws here that really add to character creation. Same with the merits; they can really add to your character. Some interesting ones.
Right.
But of course, you could also just take a bunch of flaws, live with it, and then get a bunch of freebie points to spend on something too.
I think one that's important for my character to have is smell of the grave. I think that's just, I've got to have it. Right?
You just smell-
Oh,
you
I just smell bad.
is that
I
smell
live
of
in the
sewer,
sewer.
though?
Like what?
It's like the sewer smells bad, but it smells like someone's dead in the sewer somewhere. It's like, did someone drop a body in this area of the sewer?
I mean, my neighbor, man.
Oh my god, that's why he
Stink up
hates
the
you.
place.
He hates you because you smell so bad.
Yeah, you stink up that sewer.
No, he
Yeah.
does. It's him. He's making me stinky. All right. All right. Maybe a little bit.
I like the idea that that's what he's thinking. It's like, you're making the sewer smell bad.
Yeah, I think I smell bad. I think I'm gonna have that one.
You're just gonna have, like, just don't have you do anything social ever.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm still probably gonna do stuff anyway, because I mean,
Yes, because that's why it's wonderful.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, I can already tell I'm gonna hate you.
Should I like put the
You-
description somewhere? Because I'm probably not gonna remember the actual like full-on description.
If you want to, that'd be fine. I think that space for like merits and flaws, you can just put a whole bunch of stuff into. Like,
Right.
it looks like it's not a lot of lines, but I think you can like get
Okay.
it'll scroll down to even more lines. So you could even like kind of try to copy paste stuff or just type it all the way in.
I'm just copy pasting.
Yeah.
I'm a wild man.
Wow.
Well, it looks like vampires are not effective. It's just mortals hate you more than they already do. Also, even if you're obfuscating, there'll probably just be a bad smell in the area that's noticeable.
Yeah. God, did you fart, dude?
It's like, did like an animal die around here? Is there like a dead rat or something? No, it's just a friendly neighborhood Nosferatu hiding in the shadows behind you.
That's me.
There's one where you can wear a cape.
I mean, you could wear a cape anyway.
But I could wear a cape or be covered in body glitter, so...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can we just be glitter ones? Where's the flaw for that? Can we be like
Yeah, it's stereotype. That's
Twilight?
the flaw for it.
It's
Yeah,
stereotype, yeah.
stereotype is the flaw for that, yeah.
Yep. You totally, like, believe the stereotypes.
I
It's
can have like a disease. I can just straight up have like
the plague and
the plague, yeah.
and carry it and share it.
That's pretty
Ooh.
tempting.
Stereotype.
Anybody who drinks my blood has a 10% chance of becoming a carrier as well.
Well, I thought we were all gonna bond together.
You were
Yes.
and share some disease.
You want my rabies?
No, I don't want your baby. Oh.
No, wait,
Oh.
wait, actually. Yeah, alright. Maybe I got rabies from my rat. Right?
Oh no!
Oh.
This is it. I got rabies. How do I can't copy paste. It's not letting me copy paste it now. Alright, I'll just type it.
Yeah, if it's not big. Super.
I've got it in a notepad, and then I'll just put the actual name, and then I can refer to my notepad when I
Yes.
need to.
Super Gunneriphalus, a bolobonic plague.
Sounds about right.
So for territorial,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you're reluctant to leave your territory. We probably shouldn't take that one.
Probably not. No, it's going to be a difficult one to deal with.
I mean, to be fair, I'm pretty reluctant to leave my sewer.
Ooh. Vengeful.
Ooh.
That looks fun.
Always.
Victim of the Masquerade, that would suck.
Yep. Some of you just
What's
look
that one
at
do?
Victim of the Masquerade. I've got to get back to.
You believe in the Masquerade so much that you think there's a logical scientific explanation for all of the things that have happened to you. So you don't think you're a vampire, even though you know all of the symptoms. There's some other explanation for it.
Oh, of
obviously.
course. Yeah, there's gotta be.
Obviously.
Mm. It must be
So-
roleplayed at all times, and it's generally taken by Camarilla vampires. Mm-hmm.
I
A
love.
Nosferatu that smells of the grave, who knows that he is totally not a vampire, but can
Yeah,
also
dude.
talk to rats and has revived an alligator and a rat from the dead.
I've got
But
rabies.
they just weren't quite dead.
No, he just drained him a bunch of blood and gave him some of his own.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
all their blood, though, just most of it.
Just most of it.
Which is kind of hard to do with the rat. It probably took a couple of rats to get it right.
Oh yeah.
They don't have a lot of blood, so you just have to get it
All
just
right, George 3.
Third time's the charm.
Well, the first rat, I sucked him dry. That
So-
didn't work so well.
My disease thing is actually it's pretty good. All right. So what I do is so there's the 10% chance to become a carrier if you drink my blood, if anyone drinks my blood. There's also I have to spend an extra blood night or blood point each night on awakening, where I start showing symptoms of my rabies.
Oh no.
That's an
So I
important
might,
thing is
might go on a frenzy.
you basically spend a blood every morning or every evening to wake up.
Yep.
You
And
lose
if I don't, then I might eat all my rats or something. Eat a bunch of rats.
That probably would be it because you live with rats.
Yeah, I mean that's not too bad though for me, because like I just eat a bunch of rats. I eat rats anyway.
You might bother your neighbor a little bit. That might be another reason why he hates you. He adds it to
Oh
the
yeah.
list.
I sometimes I just frenzy. Sometimes I can't help it. I eat his rats.
Don't eat his rad stunts. That's really rude.
I can't help myself.
If there's a rat there, you just need it.
So I have enough for like a 2-point flaw now. I haven't even looked at merits. Who even cares about those?
You don't really need any if you don't want any.
I mean, I'll probably get some because
Yeah.
I'd like to counteract my disease.
Somehow. Yeah. But we should definitely remember, like, your clan weakness is easy, but we have to remember the other two. The Bruja, you have to worry about frenzying because it's easier for you to frenzy. Gotta keep that in mind. And our good friend, Venture Friend, have you decided what your restriction on what you're feeding on is yet?
Oh yeah, I can only feed on prostitutes.
All right.
That's good.
Not the healthiest choice, I'll be honest.
You might end
Well,
up as
I
a
mean-
disease carrier as well.
Wash them first, you know?
He didn't specify what kind of prostitute either. It just has to
Oh.
be a prostitute.
Prostitutes. I
Uh-huh.
mean,
Okay, so it has to be someone that I have paid for sex.
Ah, you gotta sleep with them first. Okay.
Which requires blood, so you have to spend some blood to get some blood.
You know what I mean?
Because you require some blood to make things work a little bit.
Wait, so you spend blood to hire prostitutes?
No, he's hiring them to have sex, and if you would do that, it requires you to spend a blood point in order to, enjoy,
To make it work.
To make it work.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless of gender, you have to spend blood down there to make it work right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want it to be all cold.
And dry.
Oh.
So here's where I'm wondering how dirty we're okay getting. Because my next thought was, yeah, blood can be a lubricant.
Mm.
I mean,
if she's into it.
It's much better to emulate living functions. This is a better way to say it. You spend the blood to emulate living functions.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Yes.
So, I don't know if I've mentioned, I'm a horrible, horrible person.
You are a horrible, horrible person. We've seen that.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty nice in general, honestly.
You could be the nice person of the team.
You're welcome.
Nice burly bruja, yeah.
You could be the morality, which is
no.
different, but I guess so. You're trying to bring him back to humanity, but hey,
All right.
My lady has a phobia of bugs.
Oh God.
So good luck in the sewer.
You're just gonna freak out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, you could roll courage.
I got pretty high courage, but bugs, they're something else.
You still are forced to roll it.
So, okay. You can have an enemy, right? What if my enemy is my neighbor?
That would work perfectly fine.
That sounds perfect.
He's a level 1. I'm imagining that's a 1-point enemy, so he's not like a super strong enemy.
It's also he's not.
Probably not if you're still alive.
It's probably not it's probably not he's trying to kill you either.
Oh no, he's just trying to make my life hell.
Yeah,
he's just
that's
trying
the
to
thing.
slowly steal your ass.
He's currently only a level 1, but the fact is, since he's already your enemy and you're kind of a horrible neighbor, he might get.
He's a horrible neighbor too. All right. Let me tell you.
It takes one to know one.
Maybe she is a noble Bruja of the Bruja of old. Maybe the person that actually taught you was one of the traditional Bruja, and not one of the new generation. The old warrior poets of the Middle Ages. English.
Oh, I'll be a warrior poet?
Yeah, that was the old Bruja.
Except I can rap, because, it's modern times now. We don't sing poems anymore.
Go ahead on Funny One. If you want to do the stats for me for this enemy, go ahead. I don't care. Just make another base vampire. We'll just keep him the same difficulty as him. Just the same way. Same settings, just everything. But he's got to also have the flaw of enemy 1 point. They have to share it. So they hate each other.
Nice. So, question.
Uh-huh.
If I take, prestigious sire or protege, can I have that sire have been killed and have that be the thing that I'm vengeful about? That I'm trying to find the person that killed him or her.
That sounds yeah.
All right.
That sounds
so I'm
fine.
Thinking that obviously I'm not connected to my sire anymore.
Yeah.
But people still associate me with my sire to some degree, even though I don't.
That's probably your status, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking I've got an infamous sire.
Okay.
Which means that everyone really didn't like that guy, and as a result, they don't like me very much either.
They know about you and respect you, but they don't like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably, I imagine as I work with and gain my status, I'll be able to work away from that, but that'd be a good...
Yeah. It may have been that, he was in a position of power, but just was also, for whatever reason, disliked.
Yeah, the way
Yeah.
the way it works is, or at least the definition or the description given is, your sire was and perhaps still is distrusted and disliked by many of the city's kindred.
Yeah.
As a result, you are distrusted and disliked as well.
There could have been a lot of good reasons behind that. It could have, like, we could work it out maybe, like things like we could have it that your sire stayed out of the battle for New York, or it could be that your sire was former Sabbat and switched sides. Something like that. There's a lot of good reasons for, why there would be distrusted and disliked, but still have a position of respect in a way.
The alternative is maybe he just really hates me. Maybe my sire hates me.
that could also be true.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want to deal with the elders resenting me, apparently, though, so I'm not going to do that one.
I mean, that's probably a good thing, because that's like, you're dealing with vampires a couple more generations, just a few more generations than the maximum I allowed you to. It opens up a new level of gross power.
Yeah.
That you don't necessarily want to have pissed off at you.
Alright, so I've spent my 7 points in flaws. Now to look at some merits. I've already spent 1 point to do the whole increase my domain thing.
So that means...
Because I want to have a good domain.
Yeah, so you have 6 points left that you can spend on just merits.
Yeah.
Or you could throw some more points up in other places too. As for
Right.
points.
I'm going to probably take a look at some of the merits first, though.
I love your group already. This is great.
This is going to be good.
Yeah. I had to put eat food on there because I would miss food.
Oh, this one absolutely makes sense.
That's a very good one too, because it means you can definitely like pass yourself off in normal society very easily. You can be like, I'm just eating with you guys, and later on, just like, I'm just gonna throw this up later on. But, you know.
So, inoffensive to animals.
I mean, that's...
gotta have it.
You don't offend the rats, because then you're in trouble.
Because
they outnumber
as you are probably repeatedly murdering them, not getting them to hate you is a good thing.
Wait, do I actually... Would I need inoffensive to animals if I already have all the other stuff that I have for animals? Because I've got like level 3 animal
Well,
stuff.
The thing is, that requires you to spend some blood to extort your control necessarily over them. Like, you could have like them around anyway, and it's just like when you specifically want them to do something, you have to expend your blood and like kind of express.
Yeah, I think it makes sense that I have this then, because they just hang out with me.
Yeah. That definitely would make sense, that they're sort of like, well, you're surrounded by rats at like all times in the sewer.
What a man.
Mm-hmm.
This is peak perfection.
I've also got a lawman's friend, so that might be useful.
That definitely could be. Because if something happens, explaining it away as like not horrible is good. Yeah.
I'm gonna have it as she did some dirty work for him and now they're good.
Yeah, the local sheriff being on your side means that if things go down a little badly in a mission or something, you could probably, get away a couple of times with some warnings rather than, like the big crackdown on you.
Yeah.
We didn't break the Masquerade. We merely almost bent it a little bit there. We're okay. Yeah, see?
A little bend, a little crease.
It's fine. No one knows about vampires. It's a little weird that happened, but we're fine.
All right, hey guys.
Yeah.
So get this, right? Now this is just an idea. Feel free to shoot it down. What if I have a true love?
Yes.
Oh man.
Please.
Oh, that would be fun.
Should I do it?
Please. This is my favorite character I've ever heard.
And it's one of your neighbor's pets.
No, it's not gonna be me, right?
your neighbor's top rat.
I'm very
Whatever.
tempted
No,
to
no,
pick a true
the
love
neighbor's
here.
herd.
I am
Oh,
not
stop
gonna
it.
fucking sleep with a bunch of rats, alright, buddy?
No, I
mean,
wasn't
you
talking about the
probably
rats.
already do.
Oh
No,
no!
I mean-
Oh, I think he was saying that your neighbor could be the one you actually love, but he's your enemy.
No,
You
love hate him.
No.
Like your neighbor has like a herd of people that he or she can feed on, and it's one of them.
Oh, no, okay. So like
I-
that's ooh, that would be fucking.
Oh, no,
or
they-
oh, God.
They both share a love. There's someone living like above both of them, kind of, and then they both fell in love with the person, and they're now like even more reasoning with each other.
Yes.
I don't think I'm gonna go with that one just because it doesn't. I don't see how that could. It's touted as a merit, but it seems like it could be really bad too. It's like it could be a great gift, but also a hindrance.
Yeah.
'Cause you're like, I gotta protect my love and stuff. That's a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's like, the thing about the true love, because it says it's perhaps too late, a true love.
Oh, they are immortal.
Yeah, they are mortal. Who you fell in love with, yeah. So, but the thing is,
Eventually, it's not going to be a problem anymore.
the bonus it gives you is very powerful because it's one
Yeah.
automatic success on all willpower rolls.
Ooh.
As I said, it's a great gift, but it's got the hindrance of that you have this love that you have to try to like feel like you need to protect or
I
rescue.
feel like that could really mess us up because we are eventually supposedly going to be leaving New York.
Yeah.
At least from time to time. I don't know if we ever go back. So it might be that could be really bad if I have to leave my true love in New York.
Oh, and your enemy might learn of that and listen
Yeah.
that you're leaving.
Ooh, I can't leave her with my neighbor.
He'll do something wicked to get vengeance on you.
I'm gonna keep that on the back burner unless I find something better or more interesting. That's definitely it's in the old brain though.
Man, this is a great party. I'm loving this group.
This is good. This is really good.
This is gonna be so crazy. It's gonna be wonderful.
So, I've got this weird thought where I took Permanent Fangs,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm thinking about taking the stereotype and just having, like, this crime lord be so, like, rich that he just makes all of his upper echelon embrace the whole vampire theme,
Oh.
Even if they're not actual vampires.
even though they're not vampires.
The
Yeah.
office just looks like Halloween all year round.
It's so terrible. It might actually work. Is the thing, though. That's the stupid thing, is that no one will believe you're actual vampires because of all of that.
Because everyone at the upper tier of this organization is all dressed as vampires.
Yeah, they'll all be like, "Oh God, it's those guys again."
and like he's rich enough and has enough influence that it's like, oh, that's just his thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Just don't
It's
look him in
really
the
good.
eye. Just ignore it. You know.
Yeah, if I'd taken Dominate, it'd be, no, really, don't look him in the eye.
So, what is it to be like unbondable or not bound? Because I'm looking at some of those that are like, hey, you can't be bound.
You're immune to blood bond. It's unbondable.
Okay, so just like
It basically means you could drink vampire blood all you want and never have to worry about a blood bond.
oh,
Because it's for a blood bond to take hold. It's you have to drink from the same vampire in a session a number of times over a period of time. So it's like, if one day I drink a bunch of blood from the same person, that all counts as one, you know.
it could
And-
be useful for like if some guy we're trying to get a favor from some guy. Let's say he's big shot. He's like, all right, but one of you guys gotta bind yourself to me. I could be like, yeah, I'll do it and drink all his blood.
Yeah, drink the blood and not have to worry
Smother
about it.
him.
Yeah.
The thing is that there are some elders that use the blood bond to control their youngers.
Could potentially be an interesting one.
I mean, like...
So technically we're all bound to whoever our sire is?
Yes and no. Because depending on your clan, most sires or mentors don't push actual blood bond on them. If you're Tremere, they do that.
Yeah.
Because Tremere are all about keeping everything connected together. But, like, a good example is the Ventru probably wouldn't. Because the Ventru, they don't see a need for that. They're, you know, upper echelon leader kind of position. You know, they don't need to bond their lessers. They're teaching them to be attempts to be equal to them. Your good Bruja friend was abandoned, so it doesn't have to worry about that.
Yep.
And you as the Nosferatu probably don't hit that.
I'm probably not bound, yeah.
Yeah. Your clans don't traditionally use it. Like, Ventru sometimes, but that just depends on, like, if he had been a rowdy kind of childa, then maybe use it to control them.
Right.
Because, I mean, the bond does technically weaken over time also and break if it's let go, but it's the same way of, like, you can keep drinking of the same vampire also and not blood bond. It's just you have to spread it out enough.
Yeah.
You know, it's if you drink enough of that person's blood over a certain period of time, then you bond. And effectively then you're like, it's like being in love when you're bond. You're willing to do a lot of stuff for that person. You're infatuated with them. So it's kind of like it's not like mind control blood bond, but it's like they would have high influence over you.
I just want to point out that friendly face does not say that Nosferatu can't have it, so I could just be a really friendly looking dude.
Really happy looking Nosferatu.
Happy looking Nosferatu.
He just got like this really crooked, scary looking grin. I'm happy, I swear.
It's drawn on in Sharpie.
You got a Joker face going on. It's covered in face paint.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of having an enchanting voice. Like, maybe I've got, like, you know, if I'm not seen, I'm very charismatic, but as soon as they see me, it's just like, oh.
They still have to do with that smell. But if you're, like, far
Yeah.
enough away, or, like, using something like...
Or, like, on the phone or something.
Yeah, like on the phone. Yeah.
I feel like that could be...
No, that definitely would work then.
Just walk around with your hood all the way over your head. Hope no one gets close enough to smell you.
Wear some cologne.
Wear lots and lots of cologne.
Lots of
Lots of cologne.
He's the reason those stairwells smell like Axe.
He just like you see him like take like 4 bottles of Axe. He's just like shh, like
yeah,
all
sorry,
over the
just
body.
daily routine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
he
worry about
doesn't
this. I've got to go outside.
Yeah, maybe I spend 1 blood every morning to just spend an entire hour putting on Axe to cover the smell, and then that flaw is counteracted right there.
I feel like instead of having baths, you would just fill the tub with cologne and just soak in it for a little while. Just hope you absorb some
It
of
would be
it.
so expensive, but if he got the resources, man.
I mean, he's got the domain, you know?
So, okay. I'm tempted to actually get rid of bad smell because I just found short. And I like the idea of me being like a really short, like fast dude. I just like climb all over the sewers like a little Spider-Man.
And you hate your neighbor because he's exceptionally tall.
He could be huge size.
He's huge size and
Yeah.
I'm super tiny. Ooh, I'm really
man.
fast though too if I have that, which is like,
No, your speed is slower.
oh, it's 1/2. Never
Yeah,
mind. I don't want
yeah.
to be slow.
Yeah, you don't need slow.
All right, I'll stay stinky.
I mean, if you pass yourself off as a homeless person and just say you live in the sewers,
Yeah.
who's gonna question it?
Someone might chuck a dolly your way, you know?
If they
Yeah.
anger me, my rabies might come out. I haven't found any merits that are beating out my true love so far. So it might be that might be the answer.
It's pretty good.
It is a good one.
Let's see here. I mean, if you're going for like the computer hacker kind of Nosferatu, computer adept's not bad.
I didn't even see that one actually.
It's under the mental ones.
Oh.
Light sleeper is not always a bad one because that means if something happens during your rest, you can just wake up.
That'd be useful because I'm a deep sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
I've got quite a few points. I could just soak them all into boon and have a really good boon.
That's true.
I don't know what my boon would be.
You could have something like, oh, where is it? I think like lucky too. You're born lucky. Yep. You may repeat any 3 failed rolls per story, including botches, which is pretty good. I mean, 9 lives is also really good too. You could just spend all your 6 on that one.
I could. Wait, what was it?
9 lives.
9 lives. What does that do?
When you face something that would be resulting in your death, you automatically succeed in avoiding it.
Oh, I just live.
Yeah.
That would be very useful for the Witcher campaign, honestly.
You have 9 lives. Literally is what it is. So you
literally 9 lives. So,
so
I could just almost die 9 times.
Yeah.
Nah, that's lame.
I
I might get Mole. I think Mole sort of fits me.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I get another more information basically for me. I have an informer buried in one of your sex enemy organizations. I don't know who my enemy organizations would be though.
Neighbor.
My neighbor, yeah.
Your neighbor.
I've got a rat on the inside.
It would be the Sabbat. You would
Sabbat.
have you've an informer in the Sabbat, basically, is what it would be. You know,
I think I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all have an
because the
informer
Sabbat's
in
not
Sabbat.
powerful in New York, but it still is powerful overall.
Elsewhere.
Yeah, elsewhere. So it's sort of like maybe it's not as much. Maybe it's like you are connected and know a little bit about the remaining Sabbat in New York, which might connect up some of the other local areas too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll have a Sabbat mole.
Okay.
So that leaves 3 or 2.
I mean, Jess, you could have clan friendship.
Ooh, I did fill mine up. Hang on.
Ah.
Get the couple.
That's a 4.1 though, so it's expensive. But that's basically like something like that might excuse the Ravenos without more. Like it's like instead of having to like work with them as much as basically you just would be super friends with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know which one I get rid of. I got Eat Food, Blush of Health, Common Sense, Lawman's Friend, and Ambidextrous. Those are my ones.
Yeah, the Ambidextrous is not bad if you're using 2 weapons, definitely. I mean, it's fine with not having that, though. Like, the Blush of Health, like, you basically made it that you were very good at hiding, like, hiding as a mortal.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing to do.
Then I can beat them all at their own game.
Yes. You can pass yourself
Did you
off.
just say eat them all at their own game? Because
That
that's
also,
super
but-
appropriate.
We could beat them too, you know. I can't get kicked out of sporting events for being a vampire now.
As long as they're at night.
Yeah.
What was the other ones you had? Was it Common Sense was your mental? Or
Yeah.
yeah,
Common sense.
Yeah, okay. So okay, I just have to remember you have that to basically be like, don't do that occasionally. Yes. That's fine. I can make suggestions or warnings about actions you're about to do. Your common sense peaks up as you're about to do something like, wait a second, I shouldn't do this.
Yeah. I wanted her to be pretty, like, street smart, so I was like, I don't want her doing stupid shit. I don't want that. That's not gonna fit in with it. Unless it comes to bugs.
He's like, nope.
Then everything goes out the window. Yeah.
Cool. I guess is everybody pretty well handled merits and flaws then, I guess, as they're gonna do it?
So,
Cool.
Okay.
I think,
I think I'm just gonna spend my last 2 points to increase my stuff.
Yeah. You get 2 backgrounds, you get another ability, you could, you know...
If
put
I
up-
get another ability that pushes me to 4, would I have to get another...
If it's something
thing?
that goes to 4, then you would have a specialization in it then, automatically. If you went for ability. You could also
gonna
do,
go
like, a couple
backwards.
points of willpower, too. Willpower is never a bad thing to have more of. Same with backgrounds. Those 2 things I would definitely highly recommend if you got 2 points. Those are easier to raise right now. Not that the willpower isn't impossible to raise later on anyway. All right.
Yeah, how much do they cost to raise?
Backgrounds 1 for 1, and same with willpower 1 for 1. So you could easily get 1 of each, or 2 into one of them. Like
1 for humanity as well?
humanity actually costs 2, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just bump them both into humanity and get 1 humanity.
Yeah.
Would that increase my conscious or self-control, or
No.
do I pick? Or...
You
No.
could increase one of those and then increase your humanity, but you don't need to necessarily... They have them technically separated out.
If I increased my self-control right now,
Yeah.
would that increase my humanity?
Yes.
Because, okay. And how much does it cost to increase self-control? And
2 also.
conscious?
I mean,
2? Oh, okay.
the only reason not to increase a virtue and just increase a humanity is role-playing purposes. If you feel like you're more human, but you don't have those stats.
Yeah, I feel like my guy's got like some good self-control.
Which is
less
good
conscious.
because it goes with the fact that you have to like worry every morning spending 2 blood to get off.
He's really used to the rabies at this point. He's
Yeah.
had it for a while now.
He's controlling the foaming and the craziness pretty well.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that foaming. Sorry about that.
Every time I have a girl over in the sewers.
You stop foaming at the mouth. And she's...
All right. So the rest of your characters is just basically everything that connects it together, which we've been talking about a little bit of that stuff. It's basically putting together like a little background for your character, which don't give me epic story. Just give me like maybe a page at most, a paragraph or 2, page at most of information, which you guys can then put together on your own time after this. Of just a little bit of combining all this stuff into a story, you know,
Right.
that we've been going over. Kind of like a little bit of where you came from when you were human, and why, like, your embrace, and then, like, what happened to your sire as far as you know it. You know, what your character knows. I'll work with that then for the rest of it. But I think we're pretty good then. I think we got our characters. So cool.
Woo!
Yeah, this is fun. Got over a lot of information and got some crazy characters that are really fun. That could be fun to play. So I think we'll call it here. Why don't we have? We'll go in the same order we went before and just have people give shout outs to everything they need to do. For now, I think I'm not sure if we're gonna start next week or the week after that for it. I'm gonna look in to see if I want to do a prequel with you guys. I'm gonna get your backstories and figure out if it will be necessary to do kind of little prequel stories with you or not. If it's something off camera instead of on camera, I'll let you know then. And if I'm gonna do prequel stories, I'll do it next week. If not, we'll do 2 weeks from now, session 1. We'll say, okay?
Okay.
Right?
Sounds good.
So that gives a little time to do that. And it'll give Tiv a time that I can talk with him and finish up his character if he needs to.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So, as a very general overview, we've got the sewer rat ugly dude,
Mm-hmm.
Rat King.
Rat King. We've got the rich crime lord.
Yep.
And Or-
Beat him up.
The beat him up with the heart of
yeah.
gold.
Yeah.
and the brute, the gold-hearted brute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure Tiv wanted to play an Assamite, so we'll have an assassin in your team too.
Ooh.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Mhm. He was talking about
Perfect.
that. Yeah. So,
Man, I'm really glad I didn't choose Assamite then.
if you had 2 Assamites, I thought it would have been very funny too, because then technically speaking, the core book here doesn't get into some details about Assamite that I would have opened up to. The same if one of you wanted to play an actual Ravnos, because if you're playing a Ravnos, the books usually talk more about the gypsy kind of wanderer types. There's the entire group that lives in India, which is still part of the clan, but they're more organized. And also, the Assamite are more organized than they look. Everybody only knows about the assassins. There are other like organizations within them.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at that in the wiki.
Yeah.
And if I was going to be one, I was going to be a vizier.
The viziers are kind of cool, but they're rare too. That's one of those things. Is like there are not as many of them, and no one would understand what the heck you would be too.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Which, I mean, is kind of the point.
Yeah, because like people sometimes hear about the Assamites that can use their own version of a blood magic. So like the shamans are sort of like are heard about in passing kind of thing. You know, they're like,
Yeah.
oh, there's some unique ones. The viziers. No one knows what the frick they do. There's a lot of cool clan lore out there. But anyway, yeah. Okay, so we got the timing. Let's give our shout outs to like who we are, like where you find us, kind of thing. Dunce, we'll start with you.
Hey, I'm Dunspace. You can find me on twitch.tv/Dunspace and twitter.com/Dunspace and sometimes youtube.com/Dunspace. I'll also be later tonight in about 5 hours. I'll be on ZER0DOXY's channel doing some kids on bikes, which is like a Stranger Things type thing. And then tomorrow morning, I'm gonna be on Delric's channel doing Witcher. So
You've got a busy role-playing schedule.
Yeah.
You put them all together in a row.
pretty much, it's just this is the
Convenient.
time.
It's the convenient time of all the role-playing. Jess.
I am Bubblegum Viking. We're on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. At the moment, I've been watching Pokemon and hosting it and talking in my chat while we're doing it. I even added a Pokemon bot to my Discord, so we can catch Pokemon in that too. So that's what we've been doing at the moment.
Mm-hmm. You say that as I could probably start up Pokemon Go and play a little bit right now. I play way too much of that. Anyway, Carpe.
I am the CarpeDM, and you can find me mostly on Twitter at the moment. I've been busying myself playing a whole lot of Warframe, both on PC and PlayStation. And God, that sucks my life away. You can find some of my older stuff that I've run on both Twitch and YouTube. Both YouTube, twitch.com/thecarpedm. Hopefully I'll start running stuff again in the near future.
Yep. And I'm, as usual, your storyteller in this case, Tantus Naravan Dracovin. You can find me here daily, morning if you want like gaming streams and a couple of multiplayer stuff in the evenings. If you're looking for more role-playing, I'll be back on Thursday. When Tiv is here, he's also here on Thursdays for my D&D game, Madness of the Land. I'm working on it, so the new RPG announcement, which I don't have dates for yet, is there's going to be a Shadowrun game on Fridays. So that's a new one to think about in the future. Anything else? Nope, that's it. Links to everything like Twitter, Discord, Patreon, the YouTube side. Don't forget the YouTube side. I have a billion videos on vampire lore up on my channel. I have bloodlines and clans. So if you want to learn about any bloodline or clan, I got videos for you. And I've started a cast of characters, starting with Caine and going down the generations. So,
Oh boy.
It's going to take forever to do that, which is fine. It's the content people love best on my channel. I know this for a fact, so people love the vampire. Anyway, and yes, overlay may be a work in progress. This is something, I was testing out, and maybe I'll get Ollie to do something if I get some extra cash. Anyway, thanks everyone. We'll see you either next week if we're going to do some prequels, which I'll announce, or 2 weeks from now for the first session. So, bye everyone.
Bye.